Here, what are you showing me?
Am I that ugly? What the fuck?
No, no, Rowan, you're fine. I'm talking about Easy Tiger Williams. I don't know what's on your screen right now.
Is vaping on stream okay? Like, or should I put this away?
You're fine, buddy.
Okay.
Sorry. I just had to talk with Pete Owen. Made me
Gotta
want
kick
to
you out.
fight him. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh.
Can Counter, can you say something so we can
Hi.
make sure we can hear you? Hi.
Yeah,
Lactoid?
absolutely. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you. Lactoid,
Beautiful.
How am I coming through?
you're coming through great. Rowan, we could hear you. How about you, Easy Tiger? Can you say something for us?
Hello.
Yes, you're a little low, but we can fix that. I'm trying to get our last guest on here, Ekti Sinte. He's having trouble getting it. I'm trying to walk it through. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Oh, I just saw him. Okay, hello.
Ahoy.
Hello?
Okay. One moment. I have to switch gears, but we'll get there.
Oh, I'm not.
How's everyone doing, by the way? Everyone having a good day, good time? Everyone
Have a good day.
feeling good?
Life's great.
Oh.
Good.
Yeah,
Lactoid, you
can't
look
complain.
miserable. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
not talking to you. I'm sorry. That was mean. Are you doing anything cool or?
No, I'm fine. I'm just
Okay. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can energize you today, Lactoid. We'll see.
depends.
Okay.
You guys, if somebody says stupid shit, I might get energized. We'll see.
I'll be
Don't
sure to
I
say some
don't-
stupid shit for you.
I definitely don't plan on defending Destiny's actions. So
Well, we'll get
Yeah,
into
then I
that.
might be
Doing-
tired. I might be tired the whole time. Then, Ron, come on. You guys
maybe.
sacrifice
Okay.
your reputation.
Don't get me wrong. I have a twist for you, buddy.
Don't
I'll
sacrifice
spice
your
it up.
reputation just for that. Come on.
A moment.
No. I'll spice it up.
Let me introduce the show, and then we can get into it, and then we can have our discussion. So, thank you, everyone, for coming to the show. Welcome to yet another episode of WIC TV, Cross Ideological Space. We come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Today we have to talk about bad actors in political spaces. We all know recently Destiny was sued, and charges were pressed by various victims who alleged that he did something horrible. He shared their nudes and other sexual content without their consent. He recorded them without their knowledge or consent. And few victims have come forward at this point to allege this. This has caused a large split in the community. And there have been statements such as the one I'm going to read out to you. This is from Cosmic. And Cosmic says this, and he's not the only one to say it. I've heard many different takes, various saying this. No, I don't care about what he did, and you shouldn't give a fuck either. We lost the election because we cannibalized ourselves. The right doesn't hold their operatives accountable for anything, while we further divide ourselves over every topic. No one is perfect. Let people grow. So the topic for tonight's discussion is whether or not we should, and at what points we should ignore the bad actions, the immoral, reprehensible actions of people on our side in order to gain a political victory or edge. Should we be even concentrating on bad actors within our circles when someone as vicious, as a threat as Trump, right? When we have such fascists at the door, some might say, should we even care about what influences are on our side do? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to give it to Lactoid first. Lactoid, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, can you? I sound good. Everything audible?
You are.
Okay. I'm Lactoid. You can find me at Lactoid TV. I got a couple points here. I mean, there's so many different ways we can talk about this subject. This is, I think, the first time like I'm really like openly talking about it on stream. I've made some references, but I mean, the 4 points here is I think what Destiny did was bad. I think hopefully nobody here is going to argue to the alternative. I mean, what he did was bad enough that even he is banning people who try to defend the actions in his chat because the optics of that are just horrific. Like it's bad. How bad in terms of what kind of punishment is prudent, I guess, is going to be a subjective analysis. But the allegations, if true, appear to demonstrate a consistent, repetitive pattern of abuse going over the course of years for somebody in his mid-30s. This isn't like some 14-year-old who made a mistake. This is someone in his mid-30s who has demonstrated a pattern of abuse going back all the way back to the StarCraft days. Which to me, just if the allegations are true, would seem to paint somebody who is very unlikely to reform. And somebody who's unlikely to reform, I mean, that's a big negative, I think, mark on that person. However, do I think anything seriously bad is going to happen to him just practically? Probably not. He's probably going to be fine. He's probably going to get away with it. I'm not holding out for any kind of massive sense of justice like some people are. But I think that the conversation here about this topic is really about his orbiters and his fans and how they've been reacting to this news. I actually have more criticism of his fans rather than his orbiters. I'm more sympathetic to people who are like financially tied to the guy, who feel like, shit, I got to be really sure before I make some, big potential blunder. I understand that position, and largely I think a lot of the orbiters have recognized that and still went with what they believe to be moral, right? I mean, we have Pisco that was just on. He put out a video separating. Apparently, Destiny said Bridges was over on his comeback stream. I mean, you're seeing a trend of the people who are close to him saying, "Hey, this is too fucked up, Wick." I know when this first came out, you said on stream, "This is kind of fucked up," right? And so, the people who are very close, I think that I've been actually somewhat pleasantly surprised by how willing people are to say this is pretty fucked up. I was expecting there to be more sweeping from those people, but largely I've actually been relatively impressed. However, the people who I think I have no sympathy for, and I think are to this day pretty pathetic, are like these sycophants, like the person who wrote the tweet that you're referencing, Wick. The people who they have no other interest here, and their brain has been poisoned by this whataboutism tactic that Destiny's been implementing into his audience to the point where they will defend just legitimately abusive behavior. And I think that's, and for no other gain, just to worship the cult that he's created. I think that's pretty shitty.
We're going to talk about it. Thank you for being here. Gang, let's try to keep our openings under a minute. I know we got a lot to say. I know this is a big topic. I know there's a lot of ways to take it, but brevity is the soul of wit. Easy Tiger, what are your thoughts here?
I think Democrats look at Republicans who won the election despite all the bad stuff Trump has done and other Republicans like Matt Gaetz has done, and they think, well, why should our side not excuse this behavior? They won, we should copy them, copy their strategy, and we should also win. But this is flawed because Republicans have an advantage. They are running on populism. They have popular support, and Democrats should limit their behavior.
Hello?
Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. We'll get to it.
Not my native language.
I understand. Okay,
Is there
we'll
a
get
tech
to you in
issue?
a second. We'll get to you in a second. Roan, what are your thoughts here?
I have an opening statement that I wrote down. If that's okay.
Go ahead.
All right. The difference in philosophies between Democrats and Republicans is that Dems believe in principle above power, which will always lose to the Republican philosophy of power above principle. Given this is true, the principles of the left amount to fashion accessories. I'm paraphrasing, but MLK said in response to the ethic of a will to power that principle by itself is sentimental and anemic, while power is reckless and abusive. Justice is when power gives in to the demands of principle. Those interested in enacting justice must abandon this narcissistic notion of when they go low, we go high. This does not mean that when they go low, we go lower. But on behalf of justice, we must be willing to at least go medium, balancing our need for power for our commitment to our ideals. Otherwise, what is the point?
Thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Counterpoints. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so I think that unfortunately, the more that I talk to people, the more that I'm realizing that a healthy chunk of Twitch and YouTube politics is one, illiterate, and two, don't understand politics. Politics is who wields power. Okay. Now, there isn't some like carte blanche where you must hold every single person accountable. Okay. So for instance, let's say that we were in World War II and we had somebody who had like a sex scandal, right? As a matter of fact, never mind. I have an even better example. Winston Churchill. Okay. He's fighting the Nazis, but he fucks up the Bengal famine. Okay. And he actually kills tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Indians, right? So are we going to stop mid-war in order to surrender to Nazi Germany, in order to criticize him over the mismanagement of the Bengal famine? Or are you going to win the war first against Nazi Germany and then criticize him for the Bengal famine? And so there's this total like lack of tactical thinking when it comes to power, where I just think that the left is especially prone to cannibalism. I've seen it happen on the right sometimes, but I also think that it's going to be funny. Like, so I would say Lactoid framed this entire conversation within the recent drama within Destiny, and I'm perfectly fine talking about that, and also talking about like the limits of criticism. However, like the actual conversation is, when is it okay to sweep? When is it okay to not sweep? And what's the difference between power and principle? And so, just to finish off the example, just to make myself clear, if there was like an existential crisis in the United States that some people would argue we are in right now, are you going to care about somebody's nudes getting leaked if that's the difference between wielding power? I'm not saying that's the case, but you need to weigh evils when you're talking about power and politics. I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. Thank you for being here. I'm sure we will get into it as we go. Last but certainly not least, how do you say your name? Ekti?
Just Cinta is okay.
Cinta? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. First stream ever. Kind of interesting. Like everybody seems so hardcore. I almost feel outmatched.
You're fine. Give us your take on the subject.
Okay. So I'm more hard on Destiny than I think all of you people. I think I suspect him to be like a proper sociopath, but honestly, that's a vibes-based diagnosis. But anyways. But today I think I'm going to argue for also the kind of level of cynicism that I heard Counterpoints and Rona express here. I thought I had an original take, but apparently I'm not as original as I thought I would be.
That's okay. We have different people for different reasons, and thank you for being here. And yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. Like, I guess I'll start with you, Lactoid, right? I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But what is the difference between sycophants of Destiny and sycophants of Trump covering up Trump's bad actions? Why is it okay for sycophants of Trump to still support him when he's done all the things that he's been accused of doing, but you have no sympathy for those in Destiny's orbit who do the same?
No. So if you're dealing with somebody, and I think this is the big distinction between this situation and for Trump. I think that there's two types of like MAGA people, or maybe not even MAGA people, but supporters of Donald Trump and their position, I guess, towards Trump's alleged sexual abuse. There's people who think it's true, but are just like, fuck, like, that Biden does it too, like XYZ does it too. I have to vote for the person because I'm a policy bug, right? I'm like really interested in policy, and this is like a really important thing to me. And then you have another group of people that just don't believe it to be true, and they really love Trump. Like they just obsessed about him, and they have this kind of parasocial connection, perhaps very similar to some that people might have to streamers. But in this situation, I mean, this person's not a politician. This person isn't pushing any particular policy. This person is running a parasocial relationship platform. That's the point, right? The point is to build a parasocial relationship with his audience. And so the question is it okay to build a parasocial relationship with somebody if you think that what they did was wrong, or maybe not just that, but are you allowed to criticize the thing that you think that they did was bad if you have a parasocial relationship with them? And Destiny hasn't even denied the allegations, and you still have people sweeping for him, not for policy reasons, but just because they're obsessed with the guy. That's the difference. Now, I'm not even necessarily defending people who sweep for the bad things that Trump does. I thought that especially Destiny's community was opposed to that. So is the argument here that, well, it's warfare, we have to be hypocritical? Is that the argument?
No.
So,
Go ahead.
So you go first.
Are we going in
okay.
order?
No,
I'll let Roan go, then we'll hear counterpoints, and we'll hear
No. The argument is that like your degree of like candidate is accused and found like and litigated through like way worse shit than Destiny is. So like for you to hold this double standard is insane.
I don't
Like,
hold a
just
double
honestly,
standard.
It is a double standard.
What am I doing that would demonstrate that I'm holding a double standard?
You're saying
Trump?
Yeah, look, if Destiny had my policy positions and he did 20 times worse, I might consider voting for him because I'm a massive policy bug. Do you think that I'm going to have like this deep social, like parasocial relationship with Donald Trump if I actually think that he raped Carol? No.
Of course
not.
not.
No, I
Effectively
didn't
the
think you
argument
would.
right there.
The idea, okay, just to be clear, I think that I'm skeptical of the fact that he actually did commit that crime, and we can go into the details. We can go into the details about that.
I don't want.
If I believe that he did it, I'm not going to like him parasocially. I'm not going to consider him to be a friend. I'm not going to want to be close to him.
Yeah. And I agree with that idea.
I don't think that's at least not why I'm watching Destiny. I am watching Destiny, even though I think he's actually like legitimately evil underneath. I was thinking that for about 2 years now, and I'm still watching him. It's not because like I want to be morally uplifted by the guy, or I think he's like he's going to be.
You support his political project.
I think there's different sorts of moral high grounds. There's like some sort of personal moral high ground where you're like where you don't hit your kids, and where you like are a pillar of the community and whatnot. And then there's like I think a political moral high ground that also exists. I think that's separate things, and I think you should distinguish them.
Some principles are more valuable than others, right? Like some principles are
a hierarchy of principles. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is. I look. I'll let you guys talk. I think this is like a little bit pathetic, and I think that what's happening.
Wait, hold on, Lactoid. Hold on. You can say whatever you want to point out, but at the same time, this is the same pragmatic logic that you almost exactly articulated. I don't think anybody here, including myself, basically said like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be like, hey, leaking people's nudes is awesome, and audio recording your sex acts and then leaking them without consent is great." Nobody's gonna say that shit, and
or even deny the allegations.
Yeah. Wait. Do you think the motivation here from a lot of like the followers is a genuine belief that at this point Destiny's a good horse to back politically, or is it a parasocial relationship that they've developed with the guy over the course of years?
The latter.
I would like to,
of course.
30-70.
I would like to answer. I think it's literally an 80-20 split. I think that 80% of them are going to make pragmatic arguments like, oh, I just like his rhetoric, or I just think he's entertaining, or I like his debates, or I like the way he thinks about things, but I hate all his personal shit. That's going to be 80% of people. And then I think 20% of people are, like you said, where they're literally parasocially in love with the guy. And so no matter what he does, they'll be like, oh yeah, actually turns out everything he did was awesome.
Kind of like Trump.
I'm more with Lactose TV right here. I think it's the opposite around. I would say it's like more like 30% of people would make the same noises that I would make, and I think 70% of people are just like attached. Like
I think that it's absolutely flipped.
That's
I think
my intuition.
Most of this is motivated by like a parasocial relationship, as is the case often with like large streamers. I don't think a lot of the audience is truly like
to the point that they will make apologia for like sex offenses.
Of course, that's my criticism. Yes.
Yep.
So
take it up with Destiny's audience.
I would take this psychological dynamic And I would apply it almost to any public figure who does bad things. And I also think that it is particularly striking that we have this every single day on social media with Trump. Trump said the most retarded fucking thing I have ever seen a public elected official say out loud today. And I have people in my replies who are like, actually, this is secretly based. And it's a fuckload of people. Now, maybe you don't like my ratios. Let's call it 50-50. 50% of people are willing to separate the political and the personal, and they're willing to call somebody a piece of shit, even if they're going along with the policies. And 50% of them are true sycophant, psychopath fucking weirdos. But if we split it 50-50, this psychological dynamic applies to almost every public figure.
I hold on. I don't necessarily disagree with that. As to the principle, I could disagree on the ratios depending on the person. Look, there's people who sweep for O.J. Simpson, and I lost
Right.
my temper at them on public streams, in a very similar way. Because
I
like,
hope that's an 80-20, like actually what he did.
well,
or
at the
didn't do
time,
was
it
based.
wasn't quite. The ratios were a little bit different. As time goes on, the ratios are starting to get a little bit better on that particular case. But yeah, if you've run across anybody who's like making motivated apologies because they have a parasocial relationship with a celebrity and they're worshiping this celebrity parasocially, and they're obsessed with this person, like an ultra MAGA guy who's like cannot criticize Trump for anything that they do. I think it's perfectly fine to criticize them. I think it's perfectly fine to call them a hack, which, by the way, you guys have been doing to a lot of MAGA supporters who are hacks for a very long time now. And again, maybe this mentality, like I asked before, is this just war? You can just be hypocritical now? Is that the idea? Like, oh, these people are doing terrible. These people over here are doing terrible behavior. So I guess we get to do terrible behavior now too. Fuck you. Is that the thought process?
What is the hypocrisy? Because I actually think we can go back to the election and point out where it's not necessarily hypocritical. What is the hypocritical action that you are accusing people of?
The hypocritical action that I'm accusing people of is I think there's a large demographic, especially Destiny supporters, who are looking at Trump and saying they're like, how could anybody support this guy? Because look how horrible he is personally. I think you have said similar things in the past, Connor. He's a horrible person. He's terrible. The idea that anybody could support somebody who's done these awful things is just mind-blowing. People who do these terrible things, there's no excuse for that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then their guy does a terrible thing. Well,
What their guy? Like, where we just talking about
Destiny? Destiny, yes. Specifically, he does a terrible thing. Yes. Did he not?
Right.
We all agree he did a terrible thing.
Well, let me jump in here. Let me jump in here and ask Connor Points and Roan and the rest of you, right? Here's the deal, right? Like, why are we so critical of Trump? But what is the specific difference between you, Roan, defending Destiny, and
whoa. I'm not.
I think there's
not defending
there's a
Destiny or
gaping
his actions,
chasm
but saying,
between the two things.
I think it's fine to just kind of overlook this for now.
Because Republicans have established the legitimacy of that strategy. You see the open hypocrisy that they did when they stole a Supreme Court justice. And hey, they were right to do so. They were actually like serving their constituents by like stealing a Supreme Court justice. They were doing the right thing because at the end of the day,
you're wrong on every level of this.
Yes, they absolutely were. They're not there to be nice. They're not there to be polite. They're there to ensure power for their constituents. And that's at the end of the day. Like,
I criticize that action by Mitch McConnell when it happened.
That's great. I don't,
because I'm not a hack. Okay, a hack is somebody who has this fucking mentality of like whataboutism. Whenever they get confronted with anything, a whataboutism to what about that guy? What about that guy? And they're never able to sit down and have a conversation about this is pretty fucking bad. And yes, I mean I had a debate with Destiny on this very subject of like the Supreme Court packing. It was on Wix, and I mean, for a quarter of the debate, I was saying what the Republicans did there was bad. I'm not making excuses for it.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's actually a good thing.
I'm saying it is bad. I'm saying it is bad because I've got principles here.
Yeah. And yet you still voted for Donald Trump. So I like what are you talking about here?
Yeah, like this. So shiny or two turds doesn't mean you can't focus on the fact that one's a shiny fucking turd.
Okay, let's give it to Sint a little bit, and then let's go to counterpoints. Sint, what do you got?
Two short things. I'm very glad that I looked you up, Lactoid, before I came here. I was ready to like hate your guts, but actually, when I scrolled down on your Twitter page, I actually thought there's this really cool principled backbone there. So
Thank you.
I'm happy
Okay,
that I
you can
did
jerk him
that.
off later. Just let's go to
Yeah.
the point. Yeah.
You can link
Send
his
him
new
DM.
Twitter.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not
I
going
think
to release a video on that. Don't worry.
there's a giant
Hey,
chasm. There's a giant chasm between letting some things go and total moral bankruptcy. I think it is okay to give up a little bit of the moral background. Go 2 steps down. It is fine. We're still way up there. That's my point. There you go.
Okay,
Well,
counterpoint.
okay.
Go
So
ahead.
yeah. So Lactoid, I'm probably more towards your camp. However, I think we just need to acknowledge the dynamic. Okay, you're kind of saying like nobody's acknowledging this, nobody's calling them out, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. But if you actually look at maybe not the tone, because I am getting called out for tone all the time because I'm being rude and I'm making jokes and all that kind of shit. But the actual content of what people saying is this is fucked up. It's inexcusable. Not only did he fuck over the people that were closest to him, but also he's damaged his almost effectively all of his political projects. He's hurt all of his peers and his orbiters, and as a result, not only did he fuck up, he hurt a shitload of people. Those are the people who are closest to him saying that. And then the people, as you move outside of the orbiter sphere, they get actually more and more critical. Now, I agree with you that there are sycophants who are saying like, "Oh, you did nothing wrong, whatever." But I would almost say that I don't want to put proportions on it anyways. Those people fucking suck and they suck ass. However, I think that what you said though, with your voting for Trump, is that there is a pragmatic calculation here for what you think can happen with a person. And so if you're willing to acknowledge that principle, then just through that example, you kind of already know what the fuck we're talking about, which is basically like leaking nudes. I'm just going to be real here and people can fucking hate me if they want. Leaking nudes, even non-consensual audio recordings in 6 months, that's going to be shortened down to leaking nudes. And he's probably going to be back in Twitch and YouTube poll like it's fucking nothing. Now, he probably lost all his mainstream shit, but that's what it's going to boil down to. People are going to move on.
Connor, I already said I don't think there's going to be like substantive consequences for this in my intro. But are you saying that the audio shit is bunk?
I'm not saying it's bunk.
Okay.
No.
So if it turns out to be real, like this is like, and
I'm
people
still
aren't really
holding
talking
my
about
breath
this
to
as much.
find out if there's worse shit. So
Sure, and there could be worse shit. We're finding out shit every day. Like more and more shit has come out. Yes, there has been more shit that people are saying on Twitter. Are they allegations?
I'm shaking my head because I saw the January 9th.
The January 9th one after the leaks? Yeah.
But I'm all right. I'm going to give him a little bit of shit. But I'm on Vyvanse now. I don't goon anymore, guys. And it's like,
yes, we literally have this shit happening.
Kind of knew that was bullshit.
Yeah, assuming this is accurate, which apparently it is.
We saw the leaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I sent it like January 9th after the
leaks. I saw
those
two. I got you.
How could you expect he's going to change?
I don't.
We'll get to it. Easy Tiger. I'm sorry, but
Yes.
It's hard to hear you. Your mic's not working. We might have to replace you, buddy. Okay.
All right, sure.
I'm sorry. I really apologize. We'll try it again on a smaller panel. Cool?
Cool.
Okay. With that, we do have a little bit of a replacement, though.
Okay. So hold on, real quick. And I think that this is like a legitimate perspective to take because I think you're right. So he was like, oh, 2022 was a crazy year. I was doing it through 2023. What I would expect to see is somebody being contrite and actually like, kind of showing remorse and then making up for it and all that kind of stuff. I don't think he's psychologically capable of it, right? So when I saw him making jokes in those fucking DMs over the past like week or two, I was like, this motherfucker hasn't changed at all, has he? And then the January 9th fucking gooning leaks that just came out today, by the way, it's like, okay, he actually hasn't changed and he hasn't made any efforts to change. So I think at this point, it stands to reason that pretty much everybody has to expect to be effectively playing with a scorpion. Now, there's a chance you're going to get fucking stung. It just is what it is.
Right. And I want to like, so for me, I'm saying that like, if the political stakes are like in the case of the election high enough somebody who maybe I even though I don't believe all of the allegations against Donald Trump, I think that there is sufficient evidence of him being a dick and him being bad
dick?
in XYZ. Yeah, and being bad in XYZ
I think
scenario.
there's sufficient evidence he
And
used his dick.
and him being I don't think I don't think so. I mean, unless you're talking about Stormy Daniels.
sure you
Stormy
don't.
Daniels, sure. But
But not E. Jean Carroll.
No, we can talk about that.
Okay. All right.
But
I actually don't want to get sidelined on the
yeah.
details, so we can focus
Well,
on.
I
the
wanna-
facts.
I wanna-
well,
look,
wait.
just-
Let me just finish the thought because I don't want to get sidelined either.
Okay, finish this thought, but then I want to recenter us.
Thank
okay?
you. So for me, it's like, okay, if we're talking about a presidential election where policy is incredibly important, and we're talking about a comparison between one person's policy agenda and another person's policy agenda, for me, that's like a major weighting factor. I understand that logic, but there's two problems here. The first problem is Destiny's not running for president. He's not a politician. He's not like in charge of policy decisions. You don't choose to engage with him because, hey, I have to, otherwise the other side is going to introduce XYZ policy agenda. That's going to be awful. He's basically a politically toxic at this point, given the allegations. You're not going to gain anything by working with him anyway. And then the other thing is, and I guess this is for you, Connor, a little bit, for somebody who does care so much about who the person is, maybe more so than the policy, because of your criticisms of Trump and how that was a major influence in your decision not to vote for him. Why doesn't your logic here apply? Where even if Destiny is politically effective or whatever, doesn't at that point his shitty behavior for you, since you hate shitty behavior so much, isn't that enough to criticize him? Maybe more strongly.
I mean, we're gonna have to get into what more strongly means, just because I swear to God, it's like I'll say he's a socially, sexually retarded.
He's a sex pest. He's a sex pest.
With a gap in his soul from the abuse he suffered as a fucking child, and he's trying to fill his god hole with pussy, and like nobody hears that shit. They're like, oh, you're making excuses for him because you're making it funny. And so it's like, well, okay, maybe it's funny, but also like that's a pretty serious thing. Like if you actually have like real trauma and abuse that forces you to be constantly addicted to sex and relationships, and 20 or 30 years later you're still trying to fill that hole, that's fucking bad, man. Okay. It's bad on like 10,000 different levels. I want to recenter this just a little, right? Because I understand that Destiny is kind of like the focal point here, and his lens a lot of. I mean, he's.
Can I
this space?
But
well, I'll let you go next, right? I promise, right? But I want to.
There's also an idea here too. So Twitch and YouTube poll is hundreds of thousands of people, and it's millions of dollars every year. That money could be, I'm not saying it is right now, it could be harnessed for good. So pretending that like this is just like a completely ineffectual space that has no impact in the real world, I don't think that's true. And I think as time goes on, it's actually going to become a more and more effective space for achieving real world stuff.
Well, not if this keeps happening. I think that's kind of my point about the utility of. That's my point about the utility of Destiny. I mean, the learning curve isn't working if we're all accepting that people on Destiny's side are just going to say, well, he's politically useful, so I'm not going to give a fuck about his sexual malfeasance, and he's going to be streaming like normal in 3 months. It will never be a mainstream space if that's the case.
Wait,
never.
Hold on. Do we not think that fucking well, number one, I think mainstream people are probably, there's plenty of examples of sociopaths dominating mainstream politics and then having horrible sex.
Literally Donald Trump.
Yeah, literally Donald Trump. And then number two.
Sure, yeah. How many people have tried to federally indict Destiny, if we're going to compare him and Donald Trump? Donald Trump has the world criminally and civilly, but Destiny, we're saying it's okay if people are just for a couple weeks.
Standard?
Because you guys are choosing to compare it to Donald Trump.
But because he did worse shit and he's in a more powerful position.
Hold on, you're saying Donald Trump is a great example. Hold on, let me finish.
Hold on, Wayne. One second, one at a time. No one can hear when you're all shouting at each other.
Let me finish the position, right?
He's gone. Once you're finished, Jeb10. Once you're finished, we'll let Roan respond. Roan wants to get in here too.
Yeah, sure.
So go ahead and finish.
Again, you guys have such circular logic here. Because this space may end up being a politically effectual space, we should protect Destiny in the case that he's politically effectual enough to overcome the malfeasance that he's done. There's no reason to bring up that this space might be effectual in this context unless you're saying that, by the way. So otherwise, you're either making an irrelevant point or you're making the point I'm saying. So cool, I'll go with either. But then the constant comparisons to Donald Trump, you're saying the equivalent behavior to accepting Destiny, who can be replaced by any number of liberal content creators, who's the barrier
No.
for entry.
Hard
The barrier
disagree.
for entry. Stop. Hold on. You'll see when I'm making the comparison.
And
The barrier
no, we
for
see your
entry
point.
to
It's not
becoming
good.
a streamer is getting a fucking computer and a webcam. You're saying going against him and choosing a different liberal content creator of equal or greater size to support is equal to not voting for the one option you have that is close to your ideals in the presidency, and you will not get to make that choice again for another 4 years. Saying those two choices
This is
are
the
somehow
most
equal,
ridiculous thing I've
and
ever
if
heard.
you make one, you should make the other the
Okay.
same exact way is
Okay.
absurd.
Roan, go
This is
ahead.
absurd.
You can respond. Go ahead.
Why is it
Um,
absurd?
It's absurd on its face. But first off,
No, how?
uh,
Well, give him a chance to say, right?
No, he just
Go
said it's
ahead,
absurd
Roan.
on its face. He should
Sure,
be able to
Roan.
not shuffle
Let
his
you-
folders and read
again,
his notes.
let him-
Just say
let
it's
him
absurd
go.
because of
I have a
this.
direct response
bro.
Let
to
him
this,
go,
guys.
Chill.
Roan. We're gonna give the mic to Roan for now. Roan wants to respond. Give it Roan a chance, Roan, and then we can let others.
I want to go back to something Lactoid was saying. Lactoid, you were saying that the president, because it's like of a higher political position, that means that his like moral failings are more acceptable. That's not true. But the fact that he's in a more powerful position, the head of the fucking country, means that his moral character is of a much, much more serious degree.
Did
Then-
you vote
then
for
a
him? Did you
fucking-
not vote for him because of his moral character?
Yeah.
Okay,
do you
so
mean?
moral character is very important to you.
I mean, like when running against Kamala Harris, yes. Like is Destiny running against somebody? Like why? Like
No,
there's like a
that's
direct
my
comparison.
argument. My argument is that fuck, we have a two-party system. I voted Libertarian the past 2 times. Like I don't like this guy, but fuck, right? What Jebtan is saying is, holy shit, like this isn't that. This is a
Destiny is
streamer, one
more
streamer
reputable
out of
than Donald
like thousands,
Yeah.
I have a
and
direct
he's not a
response.
politician. And the whole purpose of it is it's a parasocial relationship. Are we going to deny this? Are we going to
Yes.
say
Real-
that like that's not the major thrust of the stream? Of course it is.
Real
Hold on.
quick, I just want you to acknowledge real quick that the position of president is more important than some random streamer. Will you acknowledge that?
Hold on. That's not
Yes,
my point.
that's
and
why
I
the
think-
policies-
that's why the
That's our
policy is more
point.
important.
Hold
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay,
I
go
want
ahead.
to address it
Counterpoint.
directly. So here's the thing. I think that temperamentally, the people who are most likely to rise to the top of either mainstream media or alternative media are likely to be some kind of like narcissistic sociopaths. I just think that statistically it's going to be borne out. And I do have anecdotes for you that I think will be demonstrative. So the 3 most popular people who are on left-wing alternative media right now are Hassan Piker, Vosh, and Destiny. I could literally go through it, but Hassan Piker is a rape apologist, allegedly had sex with a 17-year-old. Vosh is a lolicon. Destiny has his dramas that have come up, right? And then if we go on the right-hand side too, this isn't something that's unique to the left. Elijah Schaffer is a sex pest and a fucking Nazi. Literally go check that fucking guy's Twitter. It's nothing but fucking rape.
Tim
like,
Pool
race
take Russian
war
money.
posting.
Like
Tim Pool took fucking Russian money. Tommy Robinson, who I think has some good points sometimes, is a fucking alcoholic who likes to get wasted, walk into Muslim no-go zones and fist fight fucking Muslims. That's his idea of a good time. Paul
Yeah.
Joseph Watson is a fucking coke addict who fucking bangs prostitutes. Dude, like you're telling me that we can replace these characters with anybody, but it's not true. If we replace
You
Destiny,
can.
let's say that we find some fucking liberal character who's just as charismatic, just as talented, just as intelligent, et cetera, et cetera. I almost guarantee you that we're going to be finding some level of fucking skeletons in the closet. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't try. I wish Josiah pondering politics was the new fucking Destiny, right? But he doesn't have the same personality.
Well, they also are just not very smart. But the thing that you just brought up is the perfect example of how morally.
Josiah.
Yeah,
Fuck
they-
you.
I'm
Josiah is
sorry,
not
they just
on
aren't.
trial here. Okay,
this
we
is the example- this is the
Josiah's
example of why
my buddy,
Lactoid-
so let's.
Yeah, this
keep
is the
going.
example. I mean, I'm not saying he's like an evil person. I just don't think he's as smart as Destiny. But this is the point of me and Lactoid being perfectly morally consistent here. How many Elijah Schaffer posts do you see me and Lactoid retweet? How many times have you seen us support fucking Tim Pool? Basically none,
Well, but I
ever.
think if
You're
you
supporting someone worse.
in my Twitter, you're not going to
That's
find
not the issue right now.
you're not going to find either one of us being like, lol, sexual harassment good. Like that didn't
He
happen.
literally said it's a. Who's this guy? Roan?
Roan.
Literally said that it should be part of our political strategy to go medium and support Destiny despite this. That was his point when he came into this panel. That was your point. That was exactly.
Hold on.
your
This,
point.
you,
I
you
also-
do recognize it. You
I-
wait. You do recognize this is the Republican strategy, right? Like this is what they do, except they
No.
don't go medium; they go low.
Here's the issue: you're not part of the fucking DNC. You're nothing. You
Yeah, I'm a
should
rhino.
use your nothing.
I'm a rhino. Like, what do you want
You
from
should-
me?
Yeah, but use your nothing proportionate to the power that you have.
What the fuck
I
are you
have
talking
no-
about? I have no idea.
no-
What is your point?
If you stop interrupting, which again, by the way, my other point that you said was absurd on its face, you still couldn't respond to. So maybe you should
I
take
honestly
time
don't
to
even
listen.
remember what it
Hold
was.
on.
It was so dumb.
Yes, because you're not listening to them, which is why you're incapable of
Well,
responding.
then say
Let's-
something that's worth listening to.
Yeah, listen and engage. Nothing is worth
Okay.
listening to
I-
you that
Come on,
disagrees with you.
come on, let's-
So,
I feel like I addressed
if
it.
you need to use your power proportionate to the power that you have, your power in terms of choosing the nominee for the presidency, my power for choosing the nominee for the presidency is limited to a primary vote. That's it. When it comes to growing creators in this space, community members are the only ones that have that power. It's the only power you have is what community member or what streamers you support.
Republicans
retweet,
could have nominated
which ones
Nikki
you
Haley.
cover for.
Republicans could have nominated Nikki Haley.
Republicans could have. I couldn't have. So I can
Okay.
only just not support people who aren't worth supporting and support people who are worth supporting. Your argument is
Jeb.
because the DNC should be willing to use politicians that may behave in slightly less bad ways than Donald Trump. You're saying I now am going to support
Well,
covering up Destiny's sexual abuse of
how do you
women
feel about Al Franken?
for
How do
his
you feel about Al
content
Franken?
creation.
How do you feel about
Al-
Al Franken?
I don't
you think-
like
do you
any
think-
of. I don't like.
Do you think the Democrats were right in removing someone over one of the most
Hold on.
milk toast?
Hold on.
Al
hold on.
Franken?
Al Franken?
No, I don't
Yeah.
like
Let's-
any cancel culture
Even the people.
like that.
Okay,
but that was
stop.
like
This is not the same
years ago.
thing. What Al Franken did, at least to my knowledge, he was never accused of leaking nudes.
no.
Or
No, and yet he was removed from office nonetheless.
and that was
Yeah.
a mistake.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
But
here's
it's
the
not
thing,
equivalent to
Why
it's not
is that a
equivalent to
mistake?
this.
Where's the
So,
wait?
I think-
Where's the
Because he
behavior?
didn't actually
just to be clear,
victimize
just to be
anyone.
clear, just to be clear, it's not the same, and I agree. Like that was pretty ridiculous, right?
I'm not saying
I'm not
it's the
saying.
same.
I'm
No,
not,
I'm not saying it's the
I'm
same.
not. I'm
Don't
not
put
saying you're
words in
saying it's the same. I'm agreeing with
Okay.
you that it's not the same. It's not
Yeah.
the same. I agree. We can obviously evaluate the severity of different actions when it comes to how we want to feel about them. If a politician jaywalked one time, no. All right, I'm not gonna call somebody sweeping for say it's fucking jaywalking. Who gives a fuck? I
Yeah.
agree. But we just had a list of a bunch of different creators do stuff, some of which I think is not nearly comparable to this in kind of a similar way. Tim Pool unwittingly took Russian money. How the
Millions of dollars.
unwittingly
to lie
he
to
didn't
the
know.
public.
No, that's not what all of it happened.
Yeah, sure. He
What
did,
are you
sure he
talking
did.
about?
No way.
You got to be careful because like what you just
Yeah,
said is
public
like dangerous,
indictments
right?
and- yeah.
Because there is zero evidence of that.
Dangerous?
Yes, in terms of getting sued, Connor. Like he just said,
Okay,
he knowingly took it and then
fucking
to
sue
lie.
me.
Sure.
Yeah, no, that
Sure,
motherfucker.
sure.
could-
Connor,
I'll-
wait. I wasn't done my point yet. Okay, I was jumping in.
You
a
mean
lot.
legal
Okay,
counsel.
I wasn't done my point. I don't.
Yeah, let's.
From all the evidence we have, okay, Tim Pool unwittingly took Russian money. He denied knowing that it was Russian. He denied that it had any influence on his politics. That's what he said. Now,
Would he say anything else?
now
would
we
he,
have-
would he say like, "Yeah, I took Russian money"? and I did
if
it.
Destiny
He would never do that. He would never do that.
if
Hold on,
Destiny
let
said
him go. Let him go.
Jesus
so we can,
Christ.
we can go. I'll let
if
you
Destiny
respond to
denied
this.
everything and someone was like, you know what, I don't really believe XYZ happened because he's denying it, he's being credible, he's being consistent, you would have more of a case. But that's not what's happening. Like he hasn't denied any of the allegations. His behavior since the allegation speaks for itself, right? And like this is being compared to shit like unwittingly taking Russian money, doing fucking prostitutes and doing cocaine, which I don't think is necessarily wrong, right? If you want to do cocaine and fuck prostitutes, be my guest, have fun. And then
Fucking libertarian.
then this is what you people will do, okay?
Hmm.
You bring up people like
That's right.
Bosch and Hassan, as comparisons here, pretending like you guys haven't been eviscerating these people going back months for their inappropriate behavior.
Yep.
It's not like
I haven't.
it's not like this. This is why I'm calling it hypocrisy, right? If you guys like were saying, oh well, yeah, people like Hassan because they find him politically effective. We can't, blah 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 blah. No, that's not
You're not
what's
speaking
happening.
for
happening.
anybody here.
You guys were saying
Yeah.
that like, oh, he was fucking prostitutes and a prostitute
No,
thing that got
I'm pretty sure
raided.
it's-
He's a
No.
fucking degenerate. He's a creep. Bosch,
But
he's
you,
evil.
but you
Hassan
know,
was-
you know full well his audience would make an appeal to political pragmatism. We've almost like all of
Would
us.
you criticize them for that? And they did. Did you criticize them for
Yep.
that?
No.
I would at least understand. that.
That's wrong. You at the entire
What
DGG community
different is that?
constantly. The entire DGG community came together to shit on Hassan constantly in his community for saying
They
he's politically
also came
effective.
together
Your
and that's
video
true.
about
Yeah,
Destiny,
Destiny.
like the whole first part was shitting on Hassan.
Counterpoints. Go
Wait,
ahead.
which one?
Respond to that. We're gonna have to let counterpoints respond to that.
Like,
Yeah,
as a
that's okay. You
political
can
streamer, I
respond. I'm
don't
talking
like
about the
it,
recent one where you were
I think
accused of
he's
like
ineffective.
subtly sweeping.
I don't remember.
With
Hassan
the
being
one,
in
the
there.
one with Brianna Wu, where Queeman and Lav came on afterwards and criticized you for spending a considerable amount of the first part shitting on Hassan,
yeah.
shitting on Vosh, and it took you how long to finally get to Destiny on the stream that was supposed to be talking about Destiny? That's the
hold
argument.
on. So, yeah, but this is also where I feel like people haven't watched the stream because the first, and also here's a dynamic that nobody's really acknowledging, but it's just true. Okay. So like first 20 minutes is Destiny bad. Last 20 minutes is Destiny bad. And then in the middle, which is probably 45 minutes or an hour to be honest, is hey, I think Mr. Girl's a fucking piece of shit for this reason. I think that President Sunday is a piece of shit for this reason. And we spend 20 minutes on it. But the reason why that it's like 50-50 instead of 80-20 is because there's no argument to be had between Brianna and myself about whether or not Destiny's behavior was bad. There's no
I don't think
one
there
in
is
the
about
conversation.
Mr. Girl either.
Hold on. There's no one in the conversation who was like, oh yeah, actually secretly what he did was good if you think about it.
Were you guys
Nobody
disagreeing
said
about
that
Mr. Girl?
shit.
Yeah, you guys
Were
weren't
we
disagreeing
disagreeing
about
about
Mr.
Mr.
Girl
Girl?
or Lav either.
I
mean-
think we shared each other's passions with our criticisms of the man. But like for instance, but as an example, like I still hold this. Like, and I don't think anybody can actually come up with a reason why I'm wrong in saying this. We are here in the Western world in air conditioning with food in our bellies, arguing about the sex life of some fucking retard on the internet, right? Ukrainian Anna is in Eastern Ukraine where she walks out where mortars and fucking rockets rain down and kill her fucking neighbors. She's filming the fucking dead bodies of her neighbors and she's fucking taking cover in the hallway. Okay. So if you want to attack Destiny Orbiters, have fun all fucking day. Leave the Eastern Ukrainian person who's watching her neighbors get slaughtered the fuck alone.
Well,
Do you
yeah, I
have
don't
a
think any of
beef
us
with my
agree with that.
criticism of
I
Mr.
don't
Girl
think-
in that regard?
I don't think anybody here has brought up Ukrainian Anna.
Yeah.
I have. That was my criticism of Mr. Girl. Do you have an issue with my criticism of Mr. Girl going after Ukrainian Anna?
I
Do you think
don't.
I'm wrong?
I don't. I think. I mean, it's a different
Okay,
topic.
well,
but I
that-
think.
That's-
let me
hold on,
respond. Let me respond.
It's
Can I
the same
respond?
topic.
Can I
It's the same
respond?
topic. I'll give you a 10-second thing, then you can respond. Here's my thing. We are privileged talking about another man's fucking sex life. That we need to scale the sins that we're talking about here, where murder is a billion times worse than fucking leaking nudes.
I've got something
Okay,
after.
respond.
I've got something after
Okay.
Lav.
I agree that murder is very much worse. Like probably by a billion than leaking nudes, no doubt. Okay, but just because you're in a war zone doesn't mean that you're now immune from criticism. Is that how that works?
You should probably scale your criticism based off of the sins committed, I would say.
I think you kind of did. In the post, it was just about this.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
sins committed
if
would
the
be
criticism is
infringing
if the
Destiny
criticism,
after the
I
Destiny
don't want to
report.
have to be on Twitter like arguing with somebody who says something dumb, and they're like, "Oh, I'm in a war zone. You can't fucking come out. Don't come after me, motherfucker. You said the dumb shit. Are you not an adult? Can I not criticize?
But
I understand.
I've got something
like,
else
This is
too.
exactly the kind of shit that like the ultra like, oh, like you're so privileged being a white person, you can't speak on black issues. What are you talking about? You made the dumb point. I can speak to that.
No.
No,
let me
Connor,
see
you're
if I
saying
can
that
talk
because
about
you're
it.
a white person. You don't know what it's like being
Let
black.
me.
Well,
Well, I am
can I make a
white,
point?
so you should
It's
listen.
like you're living like in a war
Hold
zone
on.
with the police and everything.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay, hold on. No, I need to explain this because I need people
Explain
who
it,
have like
and Jeptan has to go, and we
brains
got to
to
recenter this
understand it.
conversation.
Okay.
because
Okay.
we are off.
So there are, let's say, 12 to 24 Destiny Orbiters who, in the wake of the Mr. Girl report, minimize the Mr. Girl report. I'm saying
Me.
that let's say it's 12. Okay. There are 11 people that I don't give a fuck if Mr. Girl attacks. He can attack them all fucking day. I don't give a shit. The one person that he's fucking attacking that I think is out of fucking line is somebody who's trying to use DGG as a fundraiser campaign so her neighbors don't get fucking murdered. I think you can give that person a pass.
Yeah.
I think
So
that-
here's.
Sorry.
I mean,
haven't-
we still have to have our Ukraine debate, Connor. So I mean,
Yeah, I think
We'll
I have a
get to
direct
that's coming up
response
next.
to
That's
the
another
Anna
debate.
thing, and then something that I noticed that I think is where you guys you're fucking me, Connor, because I love you and I hate Mr. Girl, but you're forcing me to agree with Mr. Girl on this. is
Gross.
like with the Ukrainian Anna thing, I don't think you give people a pass because they're in a war zone. I think Lactoid phrased that pretty well. And I think if he said, you're a disgusting, rotten person to your core and I don't like you, but all this, I would have a problem with it. But I just reread his statement on Anna. It was 100% focused on specifically her rhetoric regarding Destiny and his sexual malfeasance. And I think as long as you compartmentalize your criticism to the thing you're criticizing, I don't think you're out of line. But to the thing that frustrated me and the thing that I think Mr. Girl and Lav, that stream that you did, were so frustrated with, and they've been frustrated with, and I agree with them on, is you kind of, it's all this language when you're talking about him is so nerfed compared to your language about people criticizing him. Even just now, you said, we're privileged to sit here and worry about Destiny's sex life. You didn't say we're here privileged sitting and worrying about the victimization of women and nudes shared that troubled someone so deeply that they were on the edge of killing themselves. Why
Okay.
did we nerf the subject so hard to
Because-
Destiny's sex life? We're not talking about Destiny's sex life. We're talking about Pixie's right to privacy of her own naked body.
I
Okay,
just want to
I-
be
Nobody-
clear. Hold
nobody
on,
is
Steph,
saying
hold
she
on,
doesn't have that, you
Stop.
fucking
We
No,
are,
I
this is
know,
not
but why
gonna
are
be
we
talking
nerfing
about
the
the
language?
victims.
Why are you
I
bringing
just
it
don't want. I don't want to talk about the victims, frankly.
Sure, my bad.
I wanna-
Yeah.
I don't want to name victims, stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
or litigate the victims, what they'd happen. We're talking about, again, and I want to reiterate the subject, right? To what extent can we excuse bad actors in politics? And look, there's far more bad actors in this life than Destiny, right? There's people like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Trump. If you want to look on the Democrat side of things, you can find some too, I'm sure, right? But like again,
Wait,
that's
Tulsi's
the
fine.
question.
No, it's
Well,
not.
okay.
No, people have
Okay.
vague notions that she's
Hold
an
on.
Assad plant, Lactoid, so she's
I'm
I'm
definitely a
giving
bad
you
person.
examples
Yeah, big
to
notions.
again center the
I
conversation.
can
Bad
keep this
example.
away from victims. So number one, I think
Wait.
part of this. What? Well,
No, go
hold
ahead.
on.
Well,
Number one,
specifically
I think
in
part of this
reference.
is subconscious. I think part of it is legitimately subconscious. With people you don't like, you're going to have more hyperbolic rhetoric. With people that you like, you're going to couch your language, even if it's
That's
conscious
fair.
or a subconscious process,
Sure.
right? Now, that being said, it also kind of comes with like the aims of where you hope things will be. Okay, so I want people to notice the fucked up actions of some of the critics. Some of their criticism is perfectly valid. Okay, some of their criticisms is fucking insane. And I want people to notice the fucking insane criticism because I want us to land somewhere approximating truth.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Specifically in reference to like supporting political figures of bad character, the right is so far in the red that the Democrats are incapable of being there. Like it's not even close in terms of how terrifying an existential threat that Donald Trump is to this country. The very fact that like you can support like a rapist and Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, but I can't support some like random sex pest on the internet is
Jeffrey
the height
Epstein's
of hypocrisy.
best friend.
He is.
You
He was.
understand though, like the
He was.
rhetoric, like you have to understand, like what you're saying. You're
Are
essentially
you denying the audio recording?
You're essentially there's no limit to this. Like,
Are you denying the audio recording?
I don't know what audio recording you're talking about.
The audio recording
What I-
where Jeffrey said he was like, "Oh, I was Donald Trump's best friend."
Yeah, from what I understand, Donald Trump denies being Epstein's best friend. I haven't seen sufficient evidence. to the
Of
contrary.
course he would. Like he wouldn't say
now,
he was.
Now, the logic that, and this is, I think, the most toxic part of like the whataboutism logic, right? This is the reason the Soviet propaganda machine perfected this back during the Cold War, and they utilized it every step they could. Is because, well, no, it is
It is
because you
literally
can do
the most
just about
pure
everything.
form of a
What
whataboutism.
could he do that you couldn't just be saying the exact same thing? Yeah, he murdered somebody, but
I can tell you exactly
hold on, but Ron, but how can we really get on his case? Donald Trump has murdered. His actions have led to the deaths of how XYZ amount of illegal immigrants. Like, how can we really talk about the fact that like he abducted 18 children potentially when there's a war happening in Ukraine? Like how could we? There's
be
always
clear.
something worse that you can deflect to.
Let me be clear.
Be clear.
Okay.
I think
If any other person was president right now, like if Mitt Romney was president, Nikki Haley was president, or if Kamala Harris is president, I would be abandoning Destiny's political
What
project.
about Biden? He had rape allegations against him, didn't he?
Come on. Like,
Wait, what do you mean? Come on, did he not have rape
Kamala
allegations
Harris
against him?
believed them, by the way, until she became his
They weren't
VP.
like civilly litigated and found guilty.
Were there
No,
allegations?
no litigation can't find someone
Was
guilty.
Epstein being Trump's best friend civilly litigated? You seem to believe that he was.
I mean,
there was rape allegations.
Like Jeffrey
There was-
Epstein being
there
on
was
audio
rape.
recording saying
there
he
was
his
rape.
friend.
There's a woman who's accusing Biden of rape.
I think there's a
Okay.
thought experiment
Great.
that captured
And
a
great.
lot of
Hold
it
on, hold
for
on. He
me.
hasn't gotten a chance for.
Civilly
Sente,
litigated
hold on,
and
give
found
Sente a
guilty is
chance.
just a
Not you,
completely
bro.
different standard of evidence.
Okay, gotcha. Sente, go ahead.
Thank you. I think there's a thought experiment that captured my sense of cynicism quite well. Is like if I could stop Donald Trump, his ambitions with fucking Greenland or whatever. I mean anything, by leaking somebody's nudes, I would do it.
Right.
By leaking the nudes
Wait, what?
myself.
Kill someone to stop him.
Are you in Denmark or Greenland?
Hold on, now stop.
No,
stop,
no, no, no.
please. I want to interrogate this. Sent. Okay, but would you kill someone to stop Donald Trump?
I think so. Yeah. I think
would.
that. I think the
Kill a child.
In a video
I-
game.
Yeah,
in a video game, of course. In a video game, I think we should sacrifice some children on an altar on top of a pyramid
Okay, you're just
with
trolling.
lightning in the background.
Yeah.
No,
Ball,
honestly,
perhaps.
yeah, to ball. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, look, that's fine. I don't want to hear you guys ever complain about somebody's character again.
Wait,
You're supporting the worst character in this equation.
No,
so
we're all supporting
you have
worst
no
character.
leg to stand on. You have no leg
How
to
are you going to
stand on.
criticize me for supporting a bad character
No
when
leg
you
to
are?
stand on.
No.
Huh?
We-
You're
we
supporting a
also
bad
need to
character, so now I get to
I
too.
think
What's
the
that?
threat
Hold
is
on, hold on,
that
hold on.
way.
Lactoid.
This is like a
We
1
need-
to 10 example,
No, we
and
need,
like
no,
you're
we
you're
need-
you're lying to my
No,
face.
it's 1 to 10 my way.
Oh, counterpoints. I want to hear from
can articulate
counterpoints.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So hold on. So I think there's a fundamental mistake here. You guys are we talked about this earlier, separating the personal from the political, and then accepting that there's some level of political pragmatism that you have to have in order to achieve a goal. Okay. Now the argument that I think I made back then, and somebody could check it or whatever, is that the personal is going to inform the political. Okay. So when it comes to Trump cheating on his businesses, lying about stuff in court, cheating on his wife, those are the most like trusted things that like anybody can be entrusted with within their life. And so as a result, I think that he's going to be a lying, retarded, cheapskate, scammer, whatever piece of shit. And today there are 80 people dead in the Potomac. And he was like, well, one of them was probably black or a woman. So it's probably that's the reason why. It's because of DEI. That's why there's 80 people dead.
Counterpoints. You
That's
nodded just
criminal.
real quick. You nodded along, right? When this guy Sente said that he would leak nudes to stop Trump. Would you do that? Would you leak someone's nudes?
Leak nudes to stop. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
I'm deleting our
Would you-
Discord DMs, Connor, because I've got.
Oh my God. Would you kill
Everyone who
someone
has sent me porn
in Minecraft?
Everyone who has sent me porn, I've already saved it. You're fucked. So, anyways, no. Would I kill Donald Trump to stop Greenland? No, probably not. I think taking Greenland is based. Let's think about something.
Really, you think NATO will survive that?
What's that?
You think NATO will survive that?
If we purchase it,
we could buy it, right? Anyways,
yeah,
we could do it through soft power, not hard
I
power.
don't think that will happen. Okay.
All right. Anyways, so no, I wouldn't do it for Greenland. What's another like? Obviously, he's like harassing fucking Mexicans or whatever. Let's say that they talked about the veterans and the Native Americans that were detained by ICE for being suspected of being Mexican, right? Let's say that we knew that a few hundred people were going to get legally detained and ultimately killed by law enforcement as a result of his thing. Yeah, I would literally do a cost-benefit analysis of American citizens getting killed, and then if there was like I could press a button and one person I don't know dies, and then that saves the 300 people. Yeah, I'm hitting that button 100%.
Exactly.
Here's a
It's a
question.
calculation.
I understand. Like it's a calculation, but like what is kind of the question to you that I asked Ron? Is there any like limiting factor here? Like, I know you're saying that it's going to be like in comparison to it's just like a weighted analysis, but like specifically, I mean, I really like what you said when you said like there's a subconscious thing here, and that's like very true. And I'm not holding that against you. I understand. Like it can be difficult when you really hate somebody, like the rhetoric can just come out more hateful, like without even thinking about it, compared to if you have maybe like a pre-established relationship with somebody. That's all fine and dandy. But like not only are in this case the allegations pretty bad, but like the reaction, like as I think you pointed out, Connor, like the reaction has been like absent of contrition. It's been absent of an apology, and in fact, it's been like the opposite. I've seen shit where it's like people who are like, oh, this is really bad, IP banned, right, from the chat, right? No Reddit post except for the one even allowed to talk about it.
And then they blocked that one
And
too. so
yeah,
no one could
well, I
comment
didn't know
on it.
that. Apparently, they blocked that one too. Jeb
Yep.
was saying, and then like we're gonna ban it on Discord, like all sorts of shit. Where to me, this doesn't come across like it would seem to me that you're just setting yourself up for this shit to happen again. And even if you like, even following along with this sort of like, well, yeah, we can excuse like bad behavior, etc., for like political gain.
No one's excusing it.
In this case,
No.
excusing it. I think for a lot of people, I think it's excusing.
No, hold on.
But if you're just concerned about this, like we have no evidence to suggest this is going to stop. I mean, you even brought up January 9th, Connor. I mean, that's pretty scary.
Sure. So this is something that
It's not as scary as
I
January
really think-
6th, though.
I really think I'm strong. I think I'm strongest in essays, and I'm going to focus on essays. I'm still going to participate in Twitch and YouTube poll because I kind of parasocially love you guys and I like bumping heads, right? So, anyways, my project the whole time, however terribly I've done it, is I hope that by living my life the way that I live it, in saying the things that I say, that there are a series of young people who may see me on Destiny stream, who might see me on Vosh's stream, who might see me on Wick's stream, who might see me with Brianna Wu or whatever, and they'll be like, you know what? I think he's fucking right. I actually think that I'm an atheist or an agnostic. I don't believe in God literally, but I think that Christianity actually has moral virtues that are worth studying and analyzing and incorporating into my life. I'm hoping that they see that I actually love my kids and love my wife, and they're like, holy shit, monogamy and marriage and having kids and being loyal to your wife is possible and it's good for you. And here's somebody who looks happy. And then same thing with like, I actually have a really boring life. I work a job 9 to 5, I pay my bills, and then I take the little bit of extra money I have and I invest it into my dreams. And that's a pain in the ass. But the truth is I get to build these cool little things. And so I want to give young people hope. So however, like terribly I've been doing it, for the past half decade, I have not been condoning Steven's lifestyle. If anything, I've been fucking criticizing the fuck out of it. And I've been hoping that a few people will notice what I'm doing and break from him and come to me. So I'm not condoning what he does. If anything, I want Steven to fucking listen to me.
And look, I've got no criticisms about, I've seen nothing to indicate that you aren't anything other than a wholesome family man. Seriously. I mean, I'm
trying.
Well, you're trying, but I think that, I've got nothing bad
My wife
to say.
and I we cuss at each other.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything bad. But like, I think one of the, and this is like is more relevant to the topic of the debate. Like the concern is like, this is fresh off the press. This is the time for people to be mad, and I think people are hypersensitive when people appear to be sweeping for potentially like interpersonal reasons. And like I think a lot of like the political claim, especially now that we're after the election, like a lot of like the political claim is really just a smokescreen for an interpersonal desire to want to be like want this guy to continue. Like his fan base has been around through massive political changes. It's not, and I think this goes back to something you said before. It's not his politics. He's a charismatic guy. Like, and that's why this isn't going to hurt him.
They're fans.
They're fans. They like the guy. And the question is, like, if you really like a guy, like, and you begin to realize that, like, you are, either supporting him or like not being harsh in the criticism of this, or being overly harsh towards other people as opposed to this person, like that's, and this is potentially coming from like an interpersonal reason. I feel like there's at least something to criticize there, right? I'm not saying that people who do it are like irredeemable.
I think the charisma is why.
Well, and you can, and as a matter of fact, I think every orbiter, even the ones who have totally disavowed him, they have all taken massive amounts of shit for associating with him in the first place. Okay, and so some of that's unfair. I think I think I and Dan are taking tons of shit because we're not saying like, no, we'll never talk to him ever again, right?
I mean, like Erudite was like accused of being like Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah,
it was absurd.
Hold on.
That
a lot of that's unfair. I agree. Okay, a lot of that's unfair.
But hold on. But I don't care if it's fair. The thing about it is like I was a human.
Yes, you do. Well, hold on. Yes, you do. You do care if it's fair. Like,
well, no. People can do what they need to do. I was a human being for a decade before I was a Twitch or YouTube political streamer, and so for me, I actually almost see it as like a black mark. Just being real here, I see it as a black mark where you have a 2-year, 5-year, 3-year, 4-year personal, friendly, pseudo-professional relationship and fucking allegations come out and you fucking cut bait and run. I actually think you're kind of a pussy. Now you can kind of say like, hey, this is actually pretty fucked up. It violates my moral code. You know, I don't think that I can associate with this for now. I'll see how things land. That I think is sober. But when you see, no offense to anybody who, if the shoe fits, wear it. There were plenty of people who were like, oh shit, this is big shit. I'm going to take a hit. I'm going to run. And to me, those people are fucking pussies, and they'll say whatever the audience wants them to hear. Like they'll say whatever the audience wants to hear in order
I
to
think
fucking
if you,
save their own reputation.
I think if you personally know the guy, like you are more than well within your rights to like abandon that friendship.
I
Because
think
he-
that
honestly,
is
like
a
he-
Classic lefty thinking.
an
No,
no,
loyalty.
whoa.
Whoa.
I'm a rhino. First off, I'm a rhino,
Okay.
and secondly, no, like he violated their personal trust.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
this isn't like an
I got
egoistic.
a
insult.
couple things. So one, I think there is something to be discussed about like the tensions between responsibilities to the greater political projects, responsibilities to friends, responsibilities to how you deal with these things. I think that's worth discussing. But I do want to turn the focus back onto the politics of it. And this is a question that I want to ask to Roan, to Sinte, and even to Counterpoints, perhaps, right? So let's use Destiny as an example. Might as well. We've
What's
been
the
doing
line?
it all night. So Destiny, it runs for DNC, right? He runs for influence within the DNC. Do you vote? Do you vote for him?
It depends on who the Republicans are running. If the Republicans are running
in the
something,
DNC, in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, the DNC.
yeah, no, it still depends on like it's like in context. Like if the Republicans are running someone like
If the
Trump or
alternative
fucking
is Hassan
Elon Musk,
Piker,
yeah.
If the alternative is Hassan
or
Piker
something like that, yeah,
every goddamn day of the week, you better fucking believe it. 100%.
yeah, it depends on
Like-
the alternative.
Yeah, if the alternative is actually like a socialist or a communist revolutionary fucking freak who's trying to mobilize hundreds of thousands of young people to hate the United States of America and go out into the street and fucking throw bricks at cops, yeah, you better believe I'm voting for the fucking sex pest liberal over the fucking
Yeah.
leftist revolution.
Wait, but you two disagree.
What I really hated
Hold
about
on,
Hassan
Roan,
is
you
when
don't
he,
agree with that. Roan, you said policy was not an acceptable reason to support Donald Trump. So you disagree with him, Roan?
No.
Yes,
I think
you said
def-
Republicans are so deep in the red, Democrats could never get there because they supported Donald Trump for his policy.
Yeah, Donald
even though he
Trump's-
was a terrible
Donald
person.
Trump's like
But
misconduct.
in this
is far worse.
analogy,
Okay, so
Donald
you
Trump would be
disagree
Hassan
that
Piker.
policies
No.
No.
In this
you wouldn't.
analogy, Donald Trump would be Hassan Piker. If there was a Nikki Haley or a Ron DeSantis who was running in the Republican Party, then
Yes.
that would be the person who would be flawed or fucked up, but you would still vote for them over the fucking callous fucking.
Yeah, I would vote
person
for
that
Nikki
you think is
Haley
gonna be
over Destiny,
disastrous.
for sure.
No. Donald Trump would be the
Me too.
Destiny because he's the one with legitimate like character issues that go into the realm of
And
illegality.
but there are worse character
Not
issues
Hassan.
than Destiny's character issues. Like there
Yes,
are worse.
of course.
character
That's the
issues.
point of the analogy.
think,
okay.
But you don't
I
agree.
know,
with
you're-
it.
this is
let
flying
me
right
ask you,
over
like,
your head.
Roan.
specifically for Hassan, like what character issues outside of politics, what character
Yeah.
issues has Hassan demonstrated that's this bad?
If
I don't
she's
know if
old
I'm
enough
gonna
to count,
specific.
she's old enough to mount. That's a pretty fucked up thing to say.
That's
When-
worse
when-
than
I-
sharing someone's nudes without their consent. Clarify. Yes or no?
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Which is
That's
worse?
Terrible.
Which is worse?
Yeah, which is worse?
Worse
Yeah.
than
Yes.
like advocating for fucking minors. Like
Not
I don't. Like,
advocating,
I'm probably advocating for
making
fucking
a
minors.
joke.
Like, I don't-
What is worse, making a joke or sharing someone's nudes without
Listen,
their
guys,
consent?
I think no. Hold on. So here's the thing. There are these.
This
things
is the
that we
problem
don't-
Mr. Girl has, that you
these-
can't answer
no,
that
these are-
question, by the
no,
way.
I'm going to answer the question.
No,
These are
Roan
the
can't,
things-
though.
Okay, well, I'm going to. So these are the things that are kind of like known but not said. So I'll just fucking say it again. I just talked to fucking Lav the other day. I asked her whether or not Paris Jackson had a consensual but illicit sexual affair with Hassan when she was 17. She said, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and roll with the fact that allegedly Hassan Piker had sex with a 17-year-old. And according to Roan, he said something that lines up with that. So yeah, I would view leaking nudes, not the non-consensual shit. The non-consensual shit I would actually probably put a little bit worse. But a 25-year-old having sex with a fucking 17-year-old, even if it's consensual, I would view that as fucking a phoebophile fucking bullshit, an indication of some greater character flaw. 100%.
Would you see that as worse than like the recording and leaking? Like the non-consensual recording.
without consent.
The
Yeah.
recording without consent, absolutely. Yeah. I would see recording without
Like
consent
that's a whole
as
ass action.
worse than having maybe we're talking about like degrees of evil here.
No,
where
I
we're
know.
kind
I'm
of,
not asking you. I'm
we're
not asking you to
stuck
defend
here.
either of them. But
Right.
but the point I'm trying to make is that like, okay, this is I did see that part. This is a relatively new thing that I guess I just learned. Like that's a fair point to make. I feel two things. The first thing I think is if the if the allegations of the audio recording come out to be true, and you think that's like either on par or like somewhat close to be as bad, I mean, then we're dealing with somebody who has like character flaws, worse than Hasan potentially, because there's also a greater extent. But then the other part is like let's be honest with ourselves here. Let's say that came out, and like this Destiny stuff never happened. Would you be attacking Hasan's fans for sweeping for him?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah. Because the character flaws are not actually my issue. The character, like I think Hasan is just a very like a bore and
Politically ineffective.
Yeah, you don't like him.
politically ineffective.
No, politically ineffective.
And here's the thing: I'm actually kind of in the wrong because he has a bigger audience. So who's actually more politically ineffective? Like at the end of the day, like
Well,
just
leftists
He's
don't
also
vote,
he's also
so
hotter, so it's
Lactoid-
hard to know.
Lactoid.
yeah,
Lactoid,
I
hold on.
don't know.
So
Like I don't.
I want to make sure
just-
everybody heard me. Leftists and progressives don't vote, so don't worry about political effectiveness coming out of the left.
Here's the issue: is like so. For the analogy, Destiny is the
I
Trump.
do, but in
Destiny
Germany,
is the morally worst person with worse character things accused of him, because the issue here is if we agree that if the Cherry stuff is true, it's worse than if the Hasan stuff is
Okay,
true.
I gotta
They both have
reiterate.
been-
No victims' names.
Sure.
It's hard,
Sure. If the unconsensual recording and sharing and the Hasan thing, apparently we can say that victim's name is true,
Yeah.
then that Destiny's would be worse. Then Hasan and Destiny both have allegations. Destiny's is worse, and then Destiny has proven malfeasance that Hasan just straight up
Hold on.
does not have.
Jeff,
There's
wait,
2
wait,
points.
wait,
We gotta
I
hit
just
them. I don't
really
want to
want-
lose them.
I want to
You
hear Connor.
go, Rowan. I'll write them down. Rowan, if you
Someone
don't talk, I'm
go.
gonna
No,
talk.
Connor,
Okay,
Connor,
so
go.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna talk. I'm gonna talk.
Okay, can I just
So-
quickly?
We're gonna
Jeff,
motherfucker. Connor, go ahead, please.
Now, well, now I'm fucking losing 'em.
Counterpoints, then Roan. I'll make a decision.
Okay, so we're talking about the personal and the political. Okay, so when it comes to the personal, we have to understand. I think I actually wrote this down. As the stakes increase, I think the responsibility decreases and the inverse. And what I mean by that
Agreed.
is you ask the DNC chair. Okay, so let's say that Destiny has the same allegations and Hasan has technically better allegations against him that are not as serious. Okay, but let's say the Democratic Party is split straight down the middle and they're going to seize power. Hasan Piker is 49% of the fucking party, and they are rabid socialist communists. They want to kill your capitalist parents. They want to have a Chinese fucking revolution. They want to do all this bullshit, right? They want to do all this vanguard leftist bullshit, okay? And then Destiny has the worst allegations, but he wants basic liberalism, a progressive tax rate. He wants you to be nice to the gays or whatever. Of course, 10 times out of 10, I am overlooking the fucking worst personal allegations in order to make sure that the policy doesn't destroy the country.
Yeah, you're making Lactoid and I's point that Roan disagreed with, which is that you can support
What do I
Trump for
disagree
his policies despite being the worst character choice because you find the policies to be so much more.
I wish you made
important
this argument during the
I'm
election.
advocating for that.
level.
Wait, I'm literally advocating for that.
No, I don't know.
No,
but
I know-
you're
why
not,
wasn't-
'cause
why
you're
wasn't
saying
this
it's
coming up
against
months
him
ago
for
during
Trump.
the election?
Hold on.
Yeah,
You
I
view
literally am.
Oh, you gave me the second point. The second point. This is what I wanted to say to Lactoid. Okay, so us 6 people here, we relatively like to talk about policy. We like to talk about immigration. We like to talk about current events. We like to talk about news. We like to talk about all that shit. 90% of on people on Twitter, they don't give a fuck about that. They only care about the battles of personalities. So what's more effective? Me typing out an exactly to the maximum character limit treatise on how I don't like Hasan's policies, or me calling him a fucking pedophile, right? Me calling him a pedophile is infinitely more effective for being like, this guy fucking sucks and no one should listen to him, right? And
I don't
so-
know though, because it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick because it's fantastical, and we don't know.
But
it
now
to be
you're
true.
now you're changing the hypothetical. You're
Well,
removing-
wait. Hold
I'm
on,
not,
Connor.
no.
Maybe I'm confused. I get your point, but like, what was the point in response to?
So,
Yeah.
well, I think the question was, would you attack people on a personal level over policy?
Well,
or something
no.
like
Oh,
that?
no,
Or-
that's not what
that's
I'm saying,
what I.
yeah.
Okay, I understand. What I asked was, let's say these
Oh,
allegations.
would I attack people outside of the group?
Yeah, no, yeah. If these allegations,
personal
like,
shit.
let's say, in fact, let's say the leaking news thing didn't even happen to Destiny. Let's say it happened to Hassan. I mean,
Yeah.
if are we like,
I
I
would
think
use that as a
think
cudgel to beat him
Destiny's
on with every single day.
for sure,
100%.
and I think a lot of Destiny's audience would as well. And I just don't like. It just feels like such a hypocritical act to for years now be raving as to this person's a bad person and you can't support them. This person's a bad person, you can't vote for them. This person's a bad XY blah 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 blah.
It's
And
how
then,
Trump
and
happened.
then
You
yeah, it's how
incentivize
Trump. Like, how
people
could
to
you ever
vote for a
consider voting for
cudgel.
Trump? Like, Trump is a terrible
said
person.
this-
I've had debates where people are like, how could you possibly even consider that? And we go through the whole policy consideration thing, and then you guys just sort of made that argument. But it feels like you're making the argument at a time that's pretty convenient to make that argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hold on.
Yeah.
So we could check the.
So
fucking
your
news
so
and-
your philosophy is wrong. Like your philosophy of ignoring bad character for the sake of policy and power, that's wrong.
I don't think he said that.
Thank you, Connor.
No.
Wait, no. I mean, it's a philosophy you're advocating for when you vote for this guy. So
No,
like,
it's not.
what are you
He's
talking-
saying
Yeah, it
if
is.
no-
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. When
No.
you were overlooking,
It's the field of
a fucking
pragmatism.
rape
Yeah.
attempt, yeah, you are making you're
No.
advocating for that
The
philosophy.
reason,
hold
the
on.
reason I'm making this argument
you
right
are.
now and not 2022 is because the world looks way different and much scarier nowadays than it looked 2 years ago.
Correct.
Hold on. Right now I would not be advocating for like debasing Hassan or like fucking with his shit right now either, because we need him too. We need everybody. We need fucking Jeffrey Dahmer to fight on our side.
What? No.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Connor, should
Hold-
Jeffrey
hold on, hold
Dahmer fight for your side? What do you think?
Well, we did this I actually literally did this on Twitter with the fucking Nazis and ethno-nationalists pointing out to a Republican that they're disproportionately going to support Trump. And does he ally himself with those people? Because he was trying to do the same shit to me. No, I don't think that you should ally yourself with fucking serial killers, right? But anyways, so hold on. Here's the thing. So I suspect that everybody in this room has a higher than 90 IQ, and I respect you for it, okay? So I'm going to articulate this. I might have brought up personal issues like Donald Trump cheated on his wife. And people are trying to split the personal and the political. I am trying to say that the personal affects the political. So if he's willing to lie to the person closest in his life, to cheat on her during her most vulnerable moments in life, during pregnancy, this is supposed to be a time of joy and celebration in a family man's life, and he is willing to lie to that woman in order to go stick his dick in a porn star, then he's a fucking piece of shit. But it's not just that he's a piece of shit and he's a perfect politician. It's that I suspect his piece of shittiness is going to inform his bad politics. And so as an example, because I think this guy is retarded and he follows his impulses, today, as an example, I already said this, he cited DEI as the cause of the DC plane crash while they're still fishing bodies out of the Potomac. I don't think anybody with any kind of IQ over 90 or moral center greater than a lizard would say those things.
No, look,
Sure.
Yeah.
fair criticism. I think that's bad. I could
But
I
the
could
personal
I could
affects the
I-
Okay,
yeah,
it's worse.
I could do the whataboutism thing and say, oh, there's a bunch
Do
of
it.
people on Twitter talking about how the Trump is responsible before we fish out the bodies, right? I think Wick just had somebody on just before this who was perhaps making that argument. So yeah, but here I'm not even going to do that. I just did it a little bit tacitly.
You can.
But I'm going to say directly, people shouldn't do that. That's shitty. All right, you shouldn't do that.
No, hold
Now-
on.
Now, well, to
Yeah,
address.
I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I might be losing my train of thought a little bit.
I'll
but
take notes.
the to address the personal informs the political, right? He cheated on his wife. He lied to somebody at a moment that they're most vulnerable.
He raped a woman.
He did something bad to a woman
Allegedly.
when she was vulnerable.
He raped a woman.
I think this would apply to the Destiny's actions a little bit as well, right? I mean, cheating is bad for sure, but when I would say there was a violation of privacy at a time when someone was vulnerable there,
Yep.
and in fact, you
Yeah,
can also
that's
point to
exactly
terrible politics as well. And I think that there could be a level of disrespect. I think the personal is bleeding into the politics as well, right? I mean, we're talking about he was celebrating the Trump dude who got shot
Oh,
in
Roden and I are going to be
Pennsylvania.
best friends after this. Yep.
Also,
Sorry,
he's
I'll write it.
undermining a ton of potential future political operatives for your side by leaking their naked bodies in a way that ended up on the entire internet. That was one of Pixie's first things. She's like, I can never have an online personality anymore.
Come on.
Listen, she
No more
put a fucking Substack article up. It's out.
Bro,
It's done.
bro.
Yeah.
Stop.
She put a Substack article out.
People-
It's a
It's on
Substack.
Twitter.
Be the
So
focus.
anyway,
Hold on.
I want the
it's-
focus
the
to be
people who-
on the political actors and the political
Sure.
influencers that we're talking
one
about.
of the
the
things
focus.
cited by
That's what I
one of the
want focus
first
to be.
things cited by the victims of Destiny was I can never have a fucking political face anymore because it will always be attached to videos of my body that were non-consensually sent. How many times is he going to do this? When
Listen,
January
no, I'm
9th,
gonna-
he's
I'm
saying he
gonna-
might do it
I'm
again.
going to defend Wick. I'm going to defend Wick. Wick is the host. He asked you for some level of etiquette. We
Sure,
can
and then I did
have
it.
a sober adult conversation without bringing up victims' names. That's what he asked for.
Of course, and that's what I just did. The victims
Okay.
of Destiny, to again recenter the conversation, one of the first things the victims of Destiny cited was I can never have a political career again. I can never have an online talking career again without it
Which isn't
always
true,
being
but-
linked to being the one who was
It's
found
probably
in
not
a
true.
video shared against my consent with Destiny.
Monica Lewinsky has a career. She can still have a career.
Monica
So-
Lewinsky has a career because that's exactly what the victim is saying. I will never have a career separate from this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will never
Yeah.
have a career that is
So-
not tied to one of my deepest traumas now.
Hold on.
That's
So-
a problem.
All right. There were a few points that I actually thought were really good that I want to address real quick. So, Lactoid.
Yeah.
You said that, like, well, I think it's fucked up that Democrats are capitalizing on the incident right now while they're still fishing bodies out of the Potomac. So I don't agree with the notion that you can't capitalize off of incidents, particularly if you can speak to something specific that the other side has done. As an example, the article that they almost listed over and over and over again whenever they were criticizing Trump is that he dismissed a bunch of heads of the TSA and the Transportation Security Administration or whatever. And then he also froze new hiring for air traffic controllers. And this is a part of the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency cuts across the board that are screwing over tens of thousands.
we
of
don't
It
have-
had nothing to do with
we
this
don't have.
situation.
Well,
at
we
all.
don't know if it. We don't have the connection. That's just
No,
as
we
valid.
do.
I'm not-
We
I'm
do
not
know.
saying that it's true.
Right, but that's just
training
that's
process
just real quick. That's just as valid as somebody saying, "Well, Biden's DEI policies caused
Yes.
like meritless people to get in power, and that's what caused."
I
it."
think one of them.
Do
is
wait.
more
Do
probable
you
than
think
the
it's
other
just?
one.
Wait. Do you
No,
think
you're
it's just as
100%
valid?
right.
Do you think
The
it's? Do
Biden
you think it's just
criticism
as
both are
valid?
speculation. Both are speculation.
No, yeah, but
Do
the
you think it's
Biden one is
just as
more probable.
valid
The training
as-
process for air traffic controllers, even experienced ones, is over a month. There is literally no way Trump's hiring freeze caused this. There's 0%
sure.
chance.
I agree, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
but
Biden one is
gut-
more probable,
the
to be
point
clear.
is-
Do
the
you
gut-
wait.
Uh-huh.
I need to ask Lactoid this question. Do you think it's just as valid as saying that the LA wildfires were caused because of the fucking Delta smelt? Do you think it's at least
So-
just as valid as that?
Well, so the argument is that there was like water. There was water that wasn't being directed.
So the answer is yes or no.
Stop.
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
that.
we
I
don't
don't
have to
know.
go
I
into
don't know.
detail.
I don't know.
Let him answer your question the way
Thank
he wants
you.
to answer. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you, Wick. I don't know that much of like that many details, but if the argument is, hey, because of like XYZ environmental reason that we don't like because environmentalism is bad, whatever the fuck. If they're arguing that for environmental reasons, like water was being diverted away from areas,
mismanagement.
being mismanaged, and like water was being diverted away. And I think her own fire chief got fired because she was saying the mayor was mismanaging shit and was being bad at like
So you
handling
don't
the
think
whole
like
situation.
freezing
And so
federal
if
spending?
Trump's saying, hey, like this is related, that could be true, and we have a lot more time here to like make those arguments. I agree
Oh,
that
come
right
on.
now this happened last night with the crash at the Potomac.
I
And
think
that-
it's. I'm just going to go ahead and say I think it's irresponsible and fucking retarded of him to say that.
But sure, great. And again, what are your thoughts on what Jeb said?
It's at
What-
least
what
more
did Jeb
likely.
say?
It's at least more likely than the people on the Democrat side saying that Trump's hiring freeze caused this.
Okay,
It is
so-
less
The Delta
absurd and
smell?
less
Stop,
shitty.
The fucking
Stop,
fish?
Stop.
Come on, this is
No, we're
I
not
think
talking about the
anyone-
fish anymore.
I'm talking about the
Trump-
DEI, about
Hold
the
on,
air traffic
stop,
control
stop.
issue that just
First
happened.
of all, I give more weight to what the president of the fucking United States says, and I find that more condemnable than what people on Twitter have said. But you're correct, everyone on Twitter blaming anything about what Trump did on this is also retarded and dumb and stupid. You are correct. Both are correct. Yes, anyone who is before an investigation has been launched and we don't have any information right now, we can just make guesses. Anyone saying anything and using this as a weapon, the 60 dead bodies, making bullets out of them to shoot at their political enemies, needs to really take into account, like, and search their soul to see what kind of person they are, because they're not going to like what they find when they do that.
Wick, do you
and then-
acknowledge? Wait,
That's a
Wick,
principled
Wick,
guy.
Wick.
Look at that. That's principles right there.
Wick,
Okay.
I have a question for you. Do you acknowledge that like Republicans do this like on a 10-to-1 ratio
Yes,
compared to
and
Democrats?
you know
Okay.
what?
I disagree hardcore.
I
Yeah, of course
don't
you
do what Republicans do because
Yeah.
I think Republicans do bad shit. So I don't do that bad shit. That's
Yeah,
it.
but it's effective, no? Like it,
I
like
don't
it,
care
like
if
it
it's
spreads
effective.
misinformation. It gets
Yeah,
news
you
off.
don't care if it's effective. There you go.
If I could be effective by going out and killing 10 people at random, I would still say, no, the cost is too high. I'm violating my principles. I don't care about being effective enough to kill 10
Well, Republicans
people.
kill more people,
They're
Wick, though.
lines.
Republicans
Okay.
kill more people.
They do.
Okay.
Officer, how can you arrest me for drunk driving? Trump did worse things.
Sorry,
Officer.
one of your principles should also
What is
be
smart?
that you should
How could you
avert
be worried
like, this
about
kind of like
Okay,
Okay, that's-
questions
why
against-
why are
that's
we worried
literally
about
what
my
happened.
drunk driving when Trump's the president? Okay, Trump's done
Why does
way
the
worse.
FBI do literally anything
what I
else
say
than
every
investigate
day.
the
No
president?
no one's making whataboutism arguments. We're just
Okay.
calling
Oh,
you
you
out for your
have been
blatant
making
hypocrisy.
You've
your
been making
blatant
nothing but
hypocrisy
whataboutism
in terms of
arguments
all
the
that. No,
entire
no one's
panel,
done.
dude.
No one's done any whataboutism.
You
don't know
have
what
done it
whataboutism
8 or
is.
10
You don't know what
times
a
already
whataboutism
so
is.
far.
You don't know what it is. It's okay.
Hey, Wick,
No
can
one-
you at
not
least
everyone has to
acknowledge
be
that what
intelligent.
about Republicans
Not everyone has
doing
to
it
be
more?
like informed on all these like little.
That is a
like,
whataboutism.
I'm gonna pass it to counterpoints. I don't want to get look. I don't want to get
It
stuck on this. This is a
actually
debate.
is.
If you guys want to hold the airline debate, maybe I would love to have that. But
There is no debate to be had
Okay.
until an investigation happens,
The-
but it's definitely
Alright.
not Trump's hiring freeze.
I want.
I think it was a good guess.
My problem. This is my problem. Okay, I am a neoconservative out of the closet. Okay, George W. Bush made neocon very unsexy for a couple of decades. I had an aversion to the fact that I was a neoconservative, but eventually I was like, you know what, being liberal in principle but leaving the left because they're too fucking crazy, and then also espousing American virtues internationally through soft and hard power is actually fucking based, and that's actually what I talk about a majority of the time, right? So anyways, I like rhinos who are actually principled. I like neocons who are actually principled and not total fucking freak warhawks. There's only a few of them, but I like them. And unfortunately, I like liberals over MAGA, but I don't like liberals over rhinos or neocons. And the reason why is because I think liberalism is spineless. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because you guys are acting like I'm doing a political calculation so I can make sure that Destiny and his camp win. And the truth is I don't want them to win. I want liberal values to win, but I don't want everybody to be a Coomer degenerate, drug addicted, not Destiny specifically, but drug addicted fucking freak. I don't want that.
I do actually.
Is your plan?
I do wanna take this.
He needs us
Hold
weakened
on.
for
I
the
want to
Great
ask one question
Greenland
about
War.
that because that actually goes back to something you said before.
Can you hold on for a minute
Sure,
because I want to make a little money here.
Right,
And
oh,
I
of
do have
course,
some
of
super
course, of course.
chats, and so
How dare
allow me to
you.
just go through these, and we can.
Like
add-
socially, we are very different counterpoints.
Yes, but let me get to the super chats. I just need to make a little money today. Okay, thank you, and thank you for the super chats. Keep them coming. I'll read them when I can. $5 from another new account to say, "Oh my God, why are you making this political? It was pilot error. Listen to the damn audio. Heli pilot asked for and got visual separation. It's not political."
I'm gonna piss real quick.
$10 from Audacity. I think the major difference is that Destiny stuff is verifiable, and Trump's EJC stuff has the outs of it supposedly happening a long time ago, and the bias of the New York City justice system. Thank you for 10.
Go fuck yourself, whoever that was.
$2 from Cameraman 502. Which president was the one free grope made for? $5 from Trib1. If you voted for Trump, you are a hack. There is a rap sheet of reprehensible stuff from Trump before, during, and after his first run. Ignorance is not an excuse. $2 from the Trib1. Trump has slogans, not policy. He's also anti-USA. Thank you for the $2. $5 from In Pursuit of Knowledge. The difference is that conservatives love that Trump is a bad character. They like that he raped women because it owns the libs. And thank you for the $5.
Christ.
Okay. Back to the matter at hand. Lactoid, you had a question? Go for it.
Yeah. Is your plan here to what I get asked? I've been asked this. This is like back in high school. Like we would ask like if it was like the World War II and like you were in Germany, what would you do? Would you fight against the Nazis or like how would you
What
do?
you're doing right
How
now.
would you deal with them, right? And some people would say like, well, what I would do is I would join the Nazi party and then change it from the inside. I'd be like the good one, and I would like do my best to like alter course and like
Oh,
and
gosh.
be close enough to Hitler to like tell him not to do the bad shit.
So
But I can't be
true.
too critical
That's
to Hitler.
that's the Rhino philosophy.
Yeah, but I can't be too critical to Hitler because
I
otherwise he
want to
might
know
push
where
me
this
away.
is going.
Well,
I kinda like
the
it.
question is like you said before, Connor, you were talking about how you want to be like the example. Maybe somebody might tune into Destiny and see you, and like this is an example of a good person that you can be. Like you can be that advocate. Are you trying to like
a bad
make?
person who's trying.
Yeah. Well, okay, come on. Are you trying to like
Yeah.
change the Nazi party from the inside? Is that like kind of the comparison here? Are you trying to like
Sure.
be? Is your goal here to like infiltrate
the
the
Nazi
badness and
party
make it
though?
well, in this
Yeah,
hypothetical?
DDG,
yes.
they're Nazis. You know that?
Yeah, no,
Like,
no. So no, unironically, yes. And
Okay.
the reason why is
Strategy.
because I'm very serious in this. So I started like very Christian, very conservative. My parents are dogmatic Christians. They're religious literalists. They both believe in Christ as the savior and incarnation of God. Like I went to church every day for 18 years. And I
Faith.
feel like as a result of that like grip, that religious grip on my life, when I turned 18, or actually being real, like 16, I rejected all that shit. And I was like, hedonism is the way to go. Let's smoke pot. Let's drink. Let's, try to hook up with girls. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Logically
And that,
follows.
and that lasted until I was 22. But when I was like 22, I was like, holy shit, I'm having all these pleasurable experiences, but I'm a miserable, selfish cunt. What is wrong with me? Why do I hate myself? Why do I hate everyone else? Like, this is fucking terrible. And so what I did is, I'm still not a religious literalist, but I started incorporating like the values and virtues of my parents back into my life. And slowly but surely, I created like, I don't want to say created, but I rediscovered the morality. Like it's like the story of the prodigal son who returns from being a fucking asshole, right? And so as a result, it's like, I feel liberals, in my opinion, and Destiny specifically, this is going to be a little mean, I feel like he is in a hell of his own creation. Okay? He is rich. He is powerful. He has access to unlimited pussy. Plenty of people want to know what he has to say. And yet I feel like he just lost 80% of his friends in one fell swoop. And that is a self-caused wound. And that wound is caused by nihilism and hedonism. And no offense to liberalism,
Wrong.
liberalism.
no,
Well,
wait,
but
I was
would you agree it's
liberalism.
also
Wait, why is liberalism
okay?
like,
Modern
Well,
definition.
yeah,
I would-
would you agree it's
liberalism
also
is a
weird-
and I think this is the
connection.
main part. Do you agree that it's
whatever.
also caused in
It was
large part
caused by leaking of news.
it's caused in large part by a disregard for other people.
yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I, by the way, I think nihilism and atheism, or at least anti-theism, I think it encourages a self-centered worldview because
I don't.
logically, you are here. You're only
Yeah.
here for 60 to 80 years. You're
True.
going to die. It's going to be perpetual oblivion. You're not going to be
Yeah.
conscious. So you might as well maximize your pleasure and minimize your
No,
pain. And if a few people get hurt,
maximizing your treasure is also
if a
part of
few
like
people-
finding friends and being like social and happy in a
yeah, but you're not a
community.
sociopath.
Yeah, because
not a
for
Yeah,
us
and
for us
you
with
can be a
empathy, right?
sociopath and a theist, and you can be not a sociopath and an atheist. These things have nothing to do with each other. You
Sure,
are
yeah,
fighting
hold on,
shadow
hold on.
boxing. You are shadow boxing something here.
Ecte, or Sinte.
Sinte is okay. It's okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay. I'm not saying that religious people aren't capable of horrors or terrors, and I'm not saying that religious people can't do wrong or evil. Okay.
I'm not even
However,
saying it's correlated.
Okay, but I'm saying that a sociopath who is a devout Christian has
Mhm.
10,000 laws about their conduct that tells them that they cannot hurt other people. Whereas a nihilist hedonist
So that you can't have
only
slaves.
has the law, and if they're sociopathic, they only have the laws that they themselves choose to abide by. And so I would rather have somebody who chooses to go by codified laws that have evolved over thousands of years, rather than somebody who says, I'm just going to create my own laws. Because the
The
truth is,
hedonist also has a bunch of
especially
laws,
smart
like,
people,
probably like a
especially
whole
smart people,
codex of
I
it.
want to finish this idea. Especially smart people can post hoc justify almost any bad behavior.
Yeah, but
That's true. Even Christians, like even people with a lot of with a holy book full of laws, can justify with these things. Like that doesn't
and
matter.
I think they would be.
Things that don't matter.
It does matter.
No, they don't matter.
I do want to sidestep. I think
this
the
illusionary
debate is
no. This matters.
No,
this is related. I promise you, it's related.
Now.
Okay.
No, it's related. Morality is.
I mean, you've heard of those Salem witch trials? Like that was
related.
Fucking witches. They were worshiping the devil. Fucking murder. We didn't kill enough witches.
Come on. Like,
no.
I'm serious. Have you seen TikTok? We didn't kill enough of them. So, anyways,
that's ridiculous.
No, it's true.
I think an atheist with a functioning like sense of empathy, like they're like, for example, like I'm not a religious guy.
I'm not throwing this all at the feet of atheism.
I know. I'm not a religious guy. Like I generally have like I like when other people feel good, right? It's like a thing, right? But
in
I
some
think
cases,
sometimes, but not always. We can talk about that later. But when it comes to like actions like this, I think that if you think like if in your mind you're like, I'm just gonna send this, or I'm gonna record this, I'm just gonna send this. There's unempathetic. I think there's like two. There's like either you just like this is a complete disregard of other people, like you're just very like egoist,
apathy,
which an apathetic feeling towards other people's well-being, or you do have empathy and you are like very you feel really bad about it, but like it's like you got this massive kink. And like it's just like oh like that could be part of it. I don't know what the motivation is. But
I want to add another one while we're psychoanalyzing.
Just into a spiritual level, and it's just
hold on, stop. None of this. Like honestly, I don't know.
Well, then let me finish, and then we'll move on.
Struggling to see how this relates to the topic at hand.
Because we're talking about morality and the morality of people who act in politics and whether or not we should condemn them. That's what. And so now we're talking about morality. So, anyways, consequentialism.
But we're also talking about like.
Hold on. I want to explain this. Okay. So I think that the way, I already said that I don't think atheism alone is sufficient to get you where I think Destiny went. Okay. I just think that it's I think that atheism logically leads to nihilism. Nihilism logically leads to hedonism. And then if you have a certain level of sociopathy, you can post hoc justify anything. I also think that in this, moral systems don't exist, they're all equivalent, who cares mentality, then you can basically use consequentialism, because consequentialism is inherently appealing. It basically says that if a fucking tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, then who gives a shit, right? So if you audio record fucking sex acts and you share it with friends and nobody leaks, who cares?
So you're saying Destiny needs to go to church. That's what you're saying.
Yes, actually, 100%.
Well, let's on that note, right? I wanna ask this. Again, Destiny's the most recent one, so I guess he's the example we're using. So, let's assume everything that has been said about him is true. Everything that he's accused of doing, he did. How can he come back from this? Should we accept him back? Or let me ask it this way. At what point should Democrats or people who are former DGGers or former orbiters or what have you, what steps need to happen for people to be like, okay, we can start, listening to you again. We can start platforming you again. We can
sex
start,
addiction therapy,
whatever,
probably,
right? Whatever happens to be, right?
And like actual actions taking place, like that he does, to at least make an impact on this issue. Believe it or not, a lot of young men, just men in general, a lot of men do the kinds of things that Destiny did. Like I've had people fucking try and like take pictures of me without my consent, and it's really fucked up.
Real quick, have you done what Destiny did?
No, I've had what Destiny did done to me, and it's shockingly common. And I think if maybe one of the
in the 2000s.
No, even people in their fucking 30s still fucking do that shit. And it's terrible.
In their 30s,
it's bad.
really?
Yeah,
yes,
far
unfortunately, yes.
Degenerate.
I don't know. Men are creeps.
But
Like,
here's my thing: is like men won't stop being creeps until people start holding them accountable publicly.
well, no, okay, hold on. Well, first off, what there needs, what honestly, Destiny, the best thing Destiny can do is start a dialogue about this kind of behavior and why it's bad, and like influence.
Has
like,
he made
men.
any attempt to do that?
It's
No,
bad, okay?
no, and that is damning, right?
Yeah, and here's my thing with.
But that
to
doesn't mean
answer the
wait.
core
That doesn't
question,
mean he can't. That doesn't mean there isn't time in the future for him to do.
Yeah, you think it's gonna happen?
I think they're. Yeah, I think they're.
I
fell
strangely
for it again award.
No,
so-
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there is a chance that like he can start that conversation.
Yeah, here's the
Like,
issue.
you
the
really
best
don't
thing
think so?
with Destiny is the same thing that would have been the best thing with
No.
Trump, which
Wait,
was
Lacto,
actually.
you think like there's no chance?
I think if it was the first time, yeah. If he was younger, sure, I'm willing to. You know, when I first heard about it, my initial thought process was like, yeah, that's bad, but like, you know, we can't like jump to conclusions, right? But from what shit keeps happening, shit keeps coming out, and the response is nothing. There's nothing. There's no kind of
Yeah, it's no
contrition,
remorse,
no
no
remorse.
anything.
It's just narcissistic rage against anybody
But-
who dares criticize him. And this,
And-
to me,
and-
very much like Connor was pointing out, this to me demonstrates a true sociopath. Sensei,
the
you
lack
said he
of-
is a
the lack-
sociopath, but you just don't care. You
Also,
like him because he's so.
I like
the
Bullet Fire.
wait,
I like
the-
Bullet
I don't even
Fire.
like him.
the lack of regret in his like messaging so thus far
Like he's
has
like
been
what?
pretty apparent.
You're mid
Has been
30s.
pretty apparent.
Yeah, but you're mid 30s and there's like what 6 or 7 allegations. Or just shit keeps piling up. Like how many more?
Hey, can
So,
I answer
well,
the
hold on.
question that you asked, Wick?
I'll wait.
Because the question asked was where's the line where we stop supporting him and we stop giving him chances? And my argument is that it was the same as it is for Trump.
No,
which
the
was,
question.
No, it's the other way around.
question
It was the
wasn't
other way
that.
around.
The question is like after assuming everything he did, he's accused of, he
is
actually
true.
did. At what point do we say, okay, he's repented, and we could accept him back?
He has to show it.
No, there was.
In his
I thought there
actions.
was both questions. I thought also you said, or is there
I
a
mean,
point where we just say it's done?
I mean, if Donald Trump wasn't president right now, I would be done with him. Like that's my line. But like the very fact that like we're in this political
long as
like
Trump-
climate.
You hate him.
I
It's
think
like
so. I think so.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Donald Trump, the fascist, the rapist, the criminal, Jeffrey
The
Epstein's best friend.
fascist,
Yeah,
the fascist.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
fucking hate his
The
guts.
fascist
But
Jeffrey is his best
doing
friend.
All right, well then go, Connor, because apparently I
Yeah.
thought that Wick also asked when is the line where we just say
I
no
mean,
more as
like,
well.
I think
but-
that the whole topic is that
Yeah.
question, but
No,
yeah.
no more or welcome back.
That's my thing. I thought he asked both. but
Welcome back.
Yeah, misunderstood.
Okay, well, no more is probably like rape, murder. I think we can start there and work our way back in.
I think what he's did now, honestly, is a little bit in the no more category.
Rapey. It's
Oh,
rapey.
100%. So the welcome back, yeah, I think that's going to have to be, it's going to be evaluated by each individual, but I think it's going to have to be extended periods of time without that behavior like redemonstrated. And by the way, the clock doesn't start in 2023. It starts in January 9th, 2025.
Yep.
So he was trying to say, oh, this is 2022. This is 2022. And it's like, no, dude, like you were in the middle of a sex scandal for illicitly sharing nudes and you were joking with more women about sharing more nudes. That doesn't show contrition. It doesn't show apology. It doesn't show anything like that.
He has
Now,
to
for me
express
personally-
regret.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm with Lactoid. I don't even know if he's capable of regret.
Everyone's capable of regret. Everyone's
Well,
capable.
so hold on.
He hasn't
I'll
demonstrated
tell
it.
you.
He
I'll
hasn't
tell you how
demonstrated it yet.
I want to tell you how I got to regret. Okay, so the way that I got to regret was I had a series of hedonistic relationships with a series of women, and then on the probably I don't know like sixth one that I actually really cared about, it fucking hurt a lot to break up, and I was like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Like we had fun, very cool in a lot of ways, very toxic in a lot of ways. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to find my wife. And so I actually became like celibate for a few months and I found my fucking wife. And so the thing about it is like hedonism, I've criticized hedonism tonight, but like mature hedonists often live very normal lives But the reason why is because they realize that if they do a bunch of hard drugs, they're going to pay a bunch of hard health consequences, and they're going to have terrible relationships, and they might become criminals. They keep good relationships with their friends and family because that brings them some level of contentment and joy. So what I would say is, you're like, when will Stephen mature? When will he show regret? I don't expect him to do that, but I would be interested in a mature, hedonistic perspective from Stephen, where he's like, I don't want to fuck with e-bitches anymore because they fuck up my life. So I'm gonna find
No,
somebody that I
you
love.
don't- just to be
Well,
clear,
he
just
fucks
hold on,
up their
just to be
lives.
clear.
Let's be
Hold on,
honest.
just
Yeah,
to be
true,
hold on,
true.
hold on. Let me
Totally
ask
true.
a clarifying question here to counterpoint. So just to be clear,
Sure.
you do not require regret. You'd like it, but you do not require regret.
I don't think he's capable of it. So
No, come on.
So then
That's-
maybe
no, I'm
that's
serious.
maybe that's what you were saying about Trump, or you just say no more then. If he cannot feel regret for harming other people, maybe we just say no more. Maybe we say no more even before the illegal stuff. Maybe we say no more for the Lawrence Southern stuff.
No,
because
this
he
is
showed
actually
that he doesn't give a fuck about anybody, and
No,
it's
no,
not
no, no.
just sexual
Hold on.
or gooning. It goes
Regret-
beyond that.
regret is not required for a modification of behavior.
But
for
modification
instance,
of behavior isn't sufficient, is what I'm
helps.
saying.
for me, it is 100%.
Why would the modification of behavior be enough to absolve for actual bad behavior? I get if he was starting at 0 and he modified behavior and stayed at 0, but you have to have some level of retribution, some sort of absolution
Oh
for
my
what you
God.
have done.
No, okay. So hold on.
Why
Let
would that
me-
not be the
let me
case?
follow
If
you
you've done damage to people and to an entire political space, why would you not be expected to then contribute in some net positive way to that space?
He's
That
going to do
eventually
that.
contradicts the
The
negativity.
lawsuit that's going on. He's literally going to pay for that. There's going to be restitution.
No,
But,
but why not?
retribution,
Why not
there's
in a way
difference
that
between
directly?
restitution and retribution, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's not about retribution either. It's about him
Just
actually
that.
contributing to repairing the damage he did to the space,
That's
not just
fair.
to himself and to the victim themselves.
That's fair. Like,
Yeah,
I'm a big
'cause-
believer in the idea that your body doesn't only belong to you. Like you can't like take heroin and then expect your family to be okay with it. And the same thing is kind of true with Destiny. Destiny has chained himself to this political movement a lot, and what he's done here is like everybody who's defending Destiny right now, or not even defending Destiny, defending his usefulness or something, should be at most the most mad at the man himself, at Destiny, what
Yeah,
he's done
it's
to his own
humiliating.
reputation.
Yeah,
Like-
but that's the other thing that I don't think we've touched on with the difference when people brought up Trump. That one of the big differences is like the primary utility of Trump, either positively or negatively to all of us, is the policy things that he does as president. That's like the lion's share of who he is and what he is to us and how it affects
No, it's not.
us.
No,
But,
the lion's share is
okay,
that he
not to you,
raped
but to
Eugene
everybody
Carroll.
else, the thing that
Yeah, to any
that
reasonable
affects
human
us-
being.
No, to any reasonable human being, the thing that affects you the most, literally in a factual sense, is if he fucks your taxes,
Hold on,
takes
so-
away your guns, all that kind of shit.
Jeff Tan. So if
Oh my
Destiny
God.
was a Democratic politician and not a streamer, you would consider voting for him if his
No, because I'm gonna finish the point. So not only is he bad as a political operative, but we are also ignoring the fact that he is also, most of his personality, like at least half of his content, is him talking about interpersonal shit. Like 20% of it was him talking about how to manage sexual relationships and consent. So the
Yeah.
issue is, you can't just say, when you have to accept that when you say wrongly, just incorrectly, that he will now still be effective as a political operative as long as we cover for him enough. When you incorrectly say that, you are also accepting the damage he will do along the way, because he will continue to be who he is, which is
How is
someone
it
who
that Donald Trump is-
proselytizes morally and tells people how to live their lives, whether he says, I'm not telling you how to do it, I'm telling you what I do. He's still instructing a lot of young men on how he sees consent, how he views this stuff, and it clicks for them, and they agree with it, and then they see him do this, and then they see people covering for him, and so that becomes married to what they knew from him before, and
I
they
want to address
are
this directly.
just as willing to follow it.
Yeah, I want to address this directly. So, turns out polyamorous liberals are retarded about relationships. Who fucking knew, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so I think that if you were, I don't know, a center-right neocon guy who was in Destiny's orbit, then if some liberals, like the fucking bisexuals in my fucking chat, bisexual isn't a slur, right?
Hey, why are you throwing bisexuals under the bus?
Because they're in my
Ignore it.
chat.
let him
We're
go. He's not
checking
going to
his
finish
shoulder.
his point. If keep
Get the
Okay,
buys
chat.
out of my
They're
chat.
being very annoying about it. They're like,
I love my
I'm
chat,
like, fuck
especially
off.
the ones
All
that
Who
give me
the
money.
fuck is in your chat? Like, oh, look at me. I'm
Bisexuals, he said.
Doesn't even
Yeah,
have
you
to.
Bisexual,
don't
no
have
way.
bisexuals. We can
I
move
don't
past
believe-
that.
Half of them. So
Carry
anyways,
on.
so what I'm going to tell them is the proof is in the fucking pudding, right? If you evaluate it, you can be like, oh yeah, he's a millionaire. He dates hot women, et cetera, et cetera. Those are things that 19-year-olds are interested in. If you're fucking 25 or older and you still care about dating some fucking hot 19-year-old Instagram thought, you're sexually retarded. I'm just going to share that with you. Like you're actually like, there's something stunted about your emotional and sexual development that you should try to evolve. Okay. And then here comes the sweep. Okay. Bad as a political operative. The reason why I kind of take issue with this is because people use the election as the barometer through which they evaluate Destiny's personal effectiveness within the election. I can't think of another streamer or political figure who actually participated in electoral politics and got a few dozen to a few hundred people to show up to knock on thousands of doors, and also got people to volunteer to live in canvassing houses over the course of a year that added cumulatively up to I think PV's claim is 1.6 million voter contacts. You can say that it didn't win the election, and I will fucking hear you all day on that shit, that it wasn't fucking enough. But
he engages his audience.
Tell me another alternative media figure who has mobilized their audience in another similar way, and I don't think you can.
Sorry, to clarify, what I'm saying is, from this point forward, that there's a reality where he's an effective
damaging
political
to that
operator.
aesthetic, sure.
That's what I'm saying. So right now, from this point forward is what I'm talking about, because that's the conversation we're having, is should people, not excuse, because I get you're not excusing, but should people sort of allow it to fall into the background naturally as things in the
No.
internet do, and
No.
so that he can be a political operative? I know, but that's what generally the tweet that Wick brought up at the very beginning of the panel said. Well, they were a little more aggressive, but should
but to
but
your
what I'm
point,
saying is,
like-
by doing that, you're kind of in football terms, you're paying top dollar for like an aging veteran quarterback. You've seen Destiny's best days now, and you're paying him for what he could do before. You're expending political capital to support someone who's done things like that.
Who's going to replace him?
At this point, that's what everyone says about aging quarterbacks that get paid too much. Who's going to be who this guy has been? The issue is he's not capable of being that guy anymore now. So you're paying him for what he used to be, and
maybe you guys
he's
should
not
keep him
capable
around,
of being.
actually. Jeb's making a good point.
Well, yeah, maybe liberals should keep him
Maybe
around.
they
I'm telling you, because they
should.
never look
That's a
that
good
bad.
point, actually.
They never look that
Oh, go
bad
fuck
once
yourself,
people
Lacto.
start.
You're doing some sneaky shit. I see you.
Yeah,
You know
when
what?
people start having these conversations, the aging quarterback never looks that bad yet. That's why it's still a conversation. It's only 2 years later when people finally look back and say, "Oh yeah, we fucked up."
Maybe we're going too
We
hard on the
should-
guy,
we could
Jeb
have-
Dan.
You know, could have
But,
replaced Destiny like rhetorically, and here I'm gonna like earn some looks here. Mr. Girl, I think, is like the
I
only
don't know
guy
that.
who
No,
like,
there's
who
that young
actually
cat though.
trounced Destiny on the regular.
Who's that
Like,
blonde guy who was on
that
Tim
was
Pool
really neat.
recently? Who's that? Not
Sure.
the Dean. Not the Dean Withers guy. Who's that
Hold on.
blonde guy who was on
They're
Tim
all
Pool
tweets.
recently? No,
They're all
on
tweets.
Tim Pool.
They are,
On
yeah.
Tim Pool.
Dean
Luke
Withers. Yeah,
Beasley.
Dean Withers.
No,
Yeah,
not
Luke
Dean. Not Dean.
Beasley.
Luke
No.
Beasley.
Beasley.
That
Luke
kid.
Beasley.
That kid is intelligent enough to be better than Destiny because he's
I would
not held
agree.
back by the bullshit.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
what's his name? Never mind.
But people only
TikTok
have so many
debaters are
hours in a
awful.
day to invest in creators, and so the
Okay.
more investment we put in the aging fuck quarterback, the
Jeff
less we can
Dan.
develop the young.
No,
raw
no,
see,
developers.
that's a bad-
no. You can no, because you
I'm
can
not
make the
going to
argument.
listen.
No,
I'm
I
not
don't
going to
wanna-
listen to
Wait,
Jet. Like,
Wait, no, you can make the argument that
I don't
Destiny's
want
signal
to
boost
fucking
policy.
listen to fucking
But
Luke
will
Beasley.
do you think that guy's ever
That-
going to be able to grow if he
Liberals
attaches
might.
himself to
I don't
Destiny
think
now?
I don't think he's the right play as a Democrat.
Wait, who's Luke Beasley? Am I
Luke
thinking-
Beasley?
He's
Hold
part
on,
of
let
the,
me
he's
make
part of
sure.
that the group that the Navy SEAL
I
who got
think he
Osama
comes
bin
off
Laden.
as a he comes.
He,
Look,
like, got him a
I'll
fat-
just
Oh,
say
no,
this
I love
because I don't want to get too much into it, right?
Josiah.
I don't want to get
Yeah.
too much into
Withers.
it, but I think he comes off as uncanny valley, right? I don't think his takes are genuine. I think he is a machine. in
Yo,
a lot
He
of
looks
ways.
manufactured not just in like his political views,
He
but
looks
also
like
as a
he came
person.
out of a factory. And
He does
they
look a little
designed
like
him.
default
Brett Cooper
character
came out of
creator.
a fucking factory and look at her. That's the most fucking frigid plastic.
Yeah, the
fucking
Ben
uncanny
Shapiro
valley
factory,
bitch I've
dude.
ever fucking met, and she's a multi-millionaire at 22.
Yeah.
Look, I
for being like,
understand that.
hey,
I just
look at this
I
TikTok.
want
This
someone
TikTok
human
sucks.
that I'm not like that I don't suspect of having like this like Neuralink installed in his
Sure, so let's go
brain.
with the guy everyone
right?
here agrees is probably a sociopath. That
No,
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
aligns
yeah.
I'm
with
not
what you're
saying
talking.
Destiny is the alternative here. I'm saying that like Luke Beasley is. It wouldn't
I'm
be
saying
my
Luke
choice. That's-
Beasley's
I
an
don't
At the
wanna-
very,
I
at the
don't
very
wanna-
least, Wick, you would agree that like the people who like just couldn't wrap their fucking heads around the idea that somebody might like, well, look, it's Trump against Kamala. Fuck it, like Trump has some negative character flaws. I get, but still the policy considerations are so much. You would have to agree that like
No, I would
the people who are
agree.
dumbfounded about that, like they can't be hypocritical about this. Like they have to be eating their words if they are
But you-
saying this argument.
Like this is the same
What?
argument they're making
What?
in reverse though about Destiny. They're saying that Destiny, like, yeah, he's not good, but look at the alternatives.
Yeah,
I,
no,
I,
but
I,
no,
I,
this is-
understand, I understand
I'm not
that.
saying they're right.
That's why
That's
I
the
started. That's why I
problem.
started with the
That's
saying
That's
that like
but that's the strategy you've already involved yourself in. So
This is-
how come it's fair for you, but not fair for
I already
your
explained.
political enemy?
I already explained
No,
that.
it's not though, because he
already
doesn't
explained
support
it.
Elijah Schaefer.
No,
the
it is,
actual
no,
one-to-one
it is
comparison.
fair.
I already
it is fair to
explained-
vote.
I already
It is fair.
explained
It is
this.
fair.
Can I
No, it is
respond?
fair to vote.
Can I
It is
respond?
Why
fair
can
to
you
vote
not
for
find a
Donald Trump.
single
Wait, let me
one-to-one
just quickly
comparison?
finish my
Wait,
point.
wait,
Let me
Jacob.
just quickly finish
Yeah,
my
I do
point.
like
made your
Adam
point.
Mockler,
You
by the
made
way.
your point.
Adam Mockler might be.
You
a-
made,
no, I
you,
did
you,
make
you,
my
you
point.
did. You made your
No,
point.
let me-
You're saying
I
why
did
doesn't
not
it go the other way around for you? That was your point, was it not?
No. What
Oh,
I'm
it
trying to
wasn't.
say
Okay,
is,
it better not be.
what Republicans are fully within their rights to
Oh, I've
like
talked to the Adam
elect
kid. He's
a
cool.
rapist, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend,
So
a
it was
traitor
the
to the
point.
country.
This was the point.
Let me finish.
You
it.
tried to save
If
him
it
from
means,
his. Why are you
if
trying
it
to save him,
means-
Lack?
If it means
He's making a
actually
bad point.
enacting the political agenda that they're trying to enact. It is
Here-
absolutely a legitimate
Hold
strategy
on.
to elect
I
bad.
don't know
Are you just gonna keep talking over me? Like
You've
what's
done
going
that
on
the whole
here?
panel.
No,
But
what's
Trump.
going on here?
Every
What's going on
single
here?
point has been
What's
but
going on
Trump. I get it, but Trump. I can respond to it again.
No, hold
If
on. No,
Destiny
no
was
one's saying
running for
but Trump.
president
No, I know
against
you have
Trump,
like
I
30
wouldn't
IQ
blame you for
and like
voting
are
for
You're
him.
accusing him of
conversation.
interrupting, Jebtan, but Trump.
Yeah,
Hold
but
on.
also Trump.
Dude. No, Trump means
Trump
you've
interrupts
legitimized
more.
it.
Trump interrupts
Rowan,
more, and we tolerate him.
if-
Oh
so.
my God! What the
Rowan,
fuck?
if
No,
Destiny
no, no.
was
How can we
running
criticize
against
you for
Trump,
interrupting?
you should
Trump
vote
interrupts
for
Okay,
him.
more.
okay, enough.
It's
Now.
not a
Wick
one-to-one
interrupting.
comp.
This like straw
All of
man
you,
is
all
so
of you, all
like
of you.
pathetic.
What does
It's
all of you
actually
mean? It
pathetic.
means all of you. It
Guys,
means
I
all
can't
of
hear
you.
shit.
Okay, all of you. Great, wonderful, gang. It's almost.
I'm okay.
1 o'clock. Road. Shut up.
But Trump, Wick.
Stop. You too. Like you guys are physically incapable of shutting the fuck up. You just all are. Every single.
True.
You too. Counterpoints. Oh my God, you're an old man, old as me. You should know better. Just shut the fuck up. We're reconnoitering here. We're reconvening. Okay. Great, gang. It's 9 o'clock. I got places to be. I got things to do. I got
Where do
all
you have to
sorts of
be?
stuff to take care of. Okay. I want to give each of you lovely individuals, an outro. Tell people where you can be found, right? Tell people your final thoughts on this. And then, right, we can finally end this thing. Which one of you is still going to be streaming after this? Raise your hand.
Not me.
No one. Great. I'll find someone to read into. Okay, with that said, we're going to start with counterpoints. We're going to end with Roan. Counterpoints, closing thoughts. Where can people find you?
Yep. Closing thoughts. I think we all do this. I think we all sweep for people in our political tribe, and we also point out the personal flaws of the other people in the other tribe. I absolutely think that Destiny fucked up. However, I think that unless more is revealed, this will die down in approximately 6 months, and he will still be one of the biggest Twitch and YouTube political streamers. All of that will change if something else comes out. When it comes to consequences, I don't need him to personally feel an emotion that he is not capable of feeling. I need him to stop shitty behavior and to demonstrate that over a prolonged period of time. Whether or not that's possible, I have no fucking idea. If you want to check out my content, my most popular content is Warhammer 40K. We're about to break 100,000 subs. We've had 2 or 3 months recently where we broke 1 million views. It's been fantastic. So if you're into science fiction and fantasy and violence, check that out. I also started a Star Wars channel, which I'm following the same formula for. So check out Counterpoints 40K.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Check out. I got some DMs in my DMs saying they want to fight you at some point about your witches comment, but we'll set that up at a later time.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Sinte, go ahead.
Okay. you tweeted at one point, like, if we win by abandoning our principles, we don't deserve to win. That was you, Wick.
Yeah, that's it,
And
right?
I like that tweet. It's pretty succinct. I like it. But I think that can only be said by somebody who doesn't know what losing looks like. Because I think losing might look quite harsh this time around. Sure, and it's only Destiny, but next week it's only Rachel Maddow, and next week it's only gonna be Jon Stewart. It's only ever gonna be like one person. But yeah, this is like death by a thousand cuts. This is no good. Like sticking to your principles at a time like this, on which I think this means, like, I hasten to say, proto, like, authoritarian something, whatever this turns out to be, is like polishing silver on the Titanic. They're like all your high-minded principles. You can write them on your gravestone. It's going to be great. You can take them in the gulag, and it'll keep you warm at night. I'm pretty sure. Principledness is a finite resource. Be principled where it matters. Have a hierarchy of principles, and there you go. You can find me on Twitter and or Blue Sky at Kalianike.
Okay, thank you. Check him out, gang. Link is in the YouTube description. I'll just say very briefly that if Rachel Maddow or Jon Stewart are found to have done what Destiny did, I think that they should also be held accountable.
There you go.
Anyone in the Democratic Party who is found to not consensually record, leak nudes, what have you, should be held accountable to some degree, depending on what they did and the circumstances beyond that. I would not even Biden, right? Not even the highest of the high, right? Should be someone we should cover for, and when they do bad things. That's a principle I have, and I will not apologize for it. Okay, let's give it to Jebtan. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Destiny Trump comparison is ridiculous. It was a whataboutism that was present this whole time. The fact is, if Destiny and Trump were running against each other for president, I would say if you're a Democrat, you should vote for Destiny. Because at the end of the day, like Cinta actually said, you should have a hierarchy of principles, and you can stick by your principles in condemning Trump, but then understanding that if the Democrats come in and take all of the guns away, or they do anything that goes against your greater principles that affect far more people, then you have surrendered one principle for another. You haven't stood by all of your principles anyway. When it comes to someone like Destiny, though, the reason why the only person here that brought up someone actually comparable to Destiny was Connor, and he named 3 people, none of whom me or Lactoid support, because in the one-to-one comparison, we are perfectly morally consistent on this, and we don't support people who do those things when there is no other principle we are conflicting with in order to support them. That is the problem. Destiny, like I said, I think even as a political operative, you're paying top dollar for an aging quarterback whose best years are behind him. And I understand Luke Beasley, Adam Mockler, none of them look like Destiny now. Destiny then didn't look like Destiny now. And in order to move an audience towards someone and develop a fan base, people have to first give them the chance and go be a part of their fan base. I don't agree with Adam Mockler or Beasley on fucking anything, but at the end of the day, it would be better for Democrats, even on a practical perspective politically, to support people who are better than this. In the final thought on the Destiny shit, I hate this line of if anything else comes out. It seems like every time something new comes out, people then move that line and say, well, if anything else comes out, then it'll... I think we should all just accept. His community is largely filled with pieces of shit that admire him for his special variety of being a piece of shit, and they don't care. His community want to watch the stream. They've been watching. They don't care about the victims because they don't know them, and that's why he's going to succeed. Not because what he did isn't bad or you should still support him because of it, just because his audience doesn't give a fuck. At the end of the day, he should be condemned and he shouldn't be allowed in Democrat mainstream politics, and you guys are going to feel the pain if he is.
Where can people find you?
Jebtan RIP on Twitter. I don't really stream or anything.
Fair enough. Blackhood.
I think Jeb 10 makes good points. I know I went kind of hard this panel, and I didn't really mean to, I guess, be overly antagonistic towards people here. I think a lot of it is just a frustration that I have when I perceive people to, have this sort of cognitive dissonance about a situation that, is pretty bad. Like I've said, I mean, if the allegations are true, each individual allegation taken alone might seem like, yeah, it's bad, but it's not like the end of the world. But you're seeing a pattern of behavior. Like you're seeing something repetitive. If you're on your 8th DWI, like that's a problem. Your first one might not be that big of a deal, but your 8th one will, right? You have proven yourself to be, you can't be rehabilitated, right? Like what will it take for you to stop? That's the question I think people need to ask themselves. And I get frustrated when, instead of taking a I think really critical look at this, people will choose to instead play team games to the point where it's not like a actual analysis of oh shit, yeah, like et cetera. This is really bad. This is fine. We this should be acknowledged. This should be a question that we have. As opposed to, no, we're going to sweep it for this guy, even when he has shown no apology, even when he bans you if you criticize him, even when he has shown really, I think, ruthless tyranny in exacting control over his audience, right? Like, it's not even, if there's an apology, I could even like maybe take that in mind, like, oh shit, he's actually sorry. Like he couldn't have handled this. I mean, I guess you could have handled this worse, I guess, right? But like, you're close to as bad as you could handle it. And this idea of like, well, yeah, our guy did something bad, but your guy did something worse. This is like Bloods versus Crips logic. You could take this to the ends of the earth. Like the road here is paved with skulls. They did something, like their tribe killed one of our tribes, so we're gonna go kill one of them. Like they did that, therefore, their team, their identity, their group, like white people enslaved us, therefore they are responsible. Black people do crime, therefore they are responsible. As opposed to looking at people what they actually are, which is individuals. And I think Destiny should be judged on his individual actions here, which have been relatively horrific. Again, seeing it as a pattern. But I think that I got a lot of good feedback during this discussion. I think people had really good criticisms, and I don't think there's anybody here who is really defending the behavior. And even the people who are sort of like trying to aim the direction at Trump at times would be like, yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. So that's good to see. That's good to see.
Okay, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Lactoid TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
Check them out, gang. Last but certainly not least, Ron, go ahead.
Hey, I'd like to address DGG directly. Look, this is humiliating, and there's really no getting around that. You should feel humiliated. Like, it's good that you feel humiliated, and I just want to make sure that you know that feeling of humiliation makes you infinitely better than any of these treasonous, rapist-supporting slime fucks. For that feeling of humiliation actually makes you like a little bit self-critical, which is something that they do not have, like, even in the slightest. That feeling definitely like separates you from these like pieces of shit. You can support his political project, but don't become like Trump supporters who run cover for the worst America has to offer.
Okay, where can people find you?
They can find me around.
Okay, fair enough. Gang, like the stream if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. This was a tough one, but we got through it. Relatively principled, I think, as a discussion point. I'm going to say bye to these lovely individuals, read the rest of your super chats, and then call it a night. So wave a bye, everyone.
Parasocial.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Let's.
That was
I
Still love you, Connor.
Love you.
Jeb, are you a Trump supporter?
Connor, real quick,
I'm probably what you would consider a Trump
I'm
supporter, but I
still
didn't
live,
vote.
by the way.
I'm a rhino.
That's fine. I'm serious. I would like to have that discussion with you, especially after today, because I think that might, I don't know, that might change your, because Ukrainian Anna has me banned on Twitter. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Ukrainian Anna.
Let's so I'm gonna start. I have some content that I have to catch up on editing for this weekend, but the wife and I actually plan, or well, not wife and I, the wife is okay with me
The old ball and chain. Sorry.
streaming on Saturdays, like noon to 5. So I'm gonna start doing my own content, but of course, like I'm gonna do like call-ins or whatever. So if you're available on weekends, then yeah, of course, like either this weekend or the following.
But before you go, what's your 40K faction?
Yeah, what's your 40K faction?
Death Watch.
Death Watch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 3,000 points of Death Watch behind me, and I'm actually very excited that the Astartes 2 trailer is poking to the point that they're going to be doing Death Watch cinematic.
What?
I
When
see.
did you start playing? I started playing when I was 13.
I'm gonna bounce, guys.
I started playing, or I started
I like
reading
what-
codexes in 2000.
As interesting as Connor's 40K stuff is, I don't know if you guys want to listen to that. I mean, look, I think 40K is cool. I'm not saying don't check out Connor, right? No, I mean, look, you got to be. I mean, you got to just be realistic. I think. I mean, he called him a scorpion incapable of empathy, essentially. That's pretty big criticism. I mean, I don't really know how hard people want him to go. I mean, that's pretty bad. Like in terms, well, it's not bad that he said it. It's just bad. Like it's harsh, I guess, right? So, I think Connor's. I think that was fair criticism. I think everybody else had criticism. Roan was the biggest sweeper in some extent, but look, it's tough because like like as I talked in the debate, I understand the argument, right? The argument is like, look, yes, personal shit matters, but like there are political consequences matter too, and you got to factor that in because of course you do, right? Of course you do. I'm a policy bug. Like voting, my vote was based primarily on policy. It was based almost entirely on policy. So that was like my thought process. And are there personal character critiques that you can offer of Donald Trump? For sure you can. And the same goes, if look, if you're somebody who genuinely believes that Destiny will save American politics, and that's the reason why you're like, oh shit, I gotta sweep for him. This is actually maybe like more justified than what I think is actually happening, which is people really like him. And so they want to keep watching him and experience that bond. But they can't just say that. And that doesn't sound right. So, no, it's because he's politically effective. It's because of the politics. It's because of the, which I just don't think it is for I think there's like his followers are like politically minded. I think that's true. But I don't think that like their motivation with watching Destiny is gonna like it's primarily politically motivated. I think it's primarily parasocially motivated. I don't think that anybody can truly say that at this point he has like a bright political future or that he is going to be a particularly effective political operative going forward. So and Jeb said that, right? But people still are sleeping for him. People still want to see him. So I mean, I think the most reasonable conclusion for that is that he, they just like him interpersonally. I also think that that aside for a second, like I think there is a question like how comically evil can somebody be before like you're like Jesus, this guy sucks, this guy stinks, right? At what point, right? Like like I'm gonna do a bunch of bad shit, and then if anybody brings it up, I'm gonna ban you, and I'm gonna tyrannically censor all of you, and we're just not gonna address it. Oh, and then we're gonna like keep doing weird shit and joking about it since it happens. Like if this continued, like can somebody just be like the most horrendous asshole forever and we just don't care? I don't know. I do empathize with one thing that Connor said a lot, which was like he sort of said like part of it's subconscious, like when you dislike somebody, you just feel like the hate, and you just like your the rhetoric you use can come across as more vitriolic. That's probably true. It's hard to really fault somebody for that, right? Like if you're talking about somebody, again, if you're talking about somebody you really hate, it's going to be hard to like sound neutral as compared to somebody who you're talking to and then you really like them. And to some extent, I think that was like a fair admission, right? I don't super want to I didn't really want to super attack him for that because I think that was him being vulnerable to us for a second of just saying, look, I have, it's hard. It's hard when you have like a friendship with somebody. You have that soft spot when you have that loyalty. I get that. I understand that for sure. And because I understand that, and that's why, again, with the closer orbiters, I actually feel more sympathy towards because they know this guy personally, and they're also potentially financially connected to him. Like I'm more sympathetic to the situation that they're in as opposed to somebody who's like just parasocially like obsessed with them to the point where they don't care. Like those people, I think are they have less of an excuse. But like if you're friends with somebody, if you have like a connection, genuine connection there, and you feel hesitant to like go super after them, because I get that. Like let's not pretend that doesn't exist. So and I mean factoring that in, I like I said, I think the response from a lot of the orbiters has been impressive, right? You have Pisco cancel everything, Bridges is over, according to Destiny. And I think Erudite said it on Twitter as well that she was suspending it. So Loner Box is out, although I think he has like even more personal reasons for that, right? But still, Loner Box is out. I mean, you have like a lot of the like close people are just like pulling away, and that can't be easy to do. So, I do feel like you got to give a little bit of credit to them. Sorry, I think there's a little bit, and even to Connor, who I think Connor and Dan have been a little bit less decisive in terms of handling this. I think Connor has been willing to explain himself, and so I'll give credit to that too. They'll be back quickly. Give it 90 days, bro. If that happens, that'll be so sad. That'll be so. It could happen, dude. I know Andrew Wilson predicted that it could happen. Ugh. Pisco, I don't think. I think Pisco's in like a different position though, Roland. Like he's got like a solid career and he's like very involved in politics, and I think that he might have like other motivations in play that would prevent him from going back. So I don't know. I don't know though. It's possible. I really hate the gang warfare shit, right? And I tried to explain this on Twitter. Like, what aboutism is when you refuse to engage with the actual content by directing attention somewhere else, acknowledging the problem, elaborating on it, making space for that, and then like saying, okay, well, we have to make a decision. So contrast what we already discussed with this other bad thing this other person is doing. That's not what aboutism, right? And so like if people were using the Destiny thing as a reason to attack Trump supporters who were attacking Destiny, that would be like I don't think that would that wouldn't be hypocritical actually. That would be fair. Now we could then that leads to like a finer like debating the finer points over what if there is a comparison and if Donald Trump is as bad, et cetera, or if his supporters are being as hypocritical. But that's not what's being advocated for. What's being advocated for is, we shouldn't hold our guy accountable because they're not, as opposed to you guys should hold your guy accountable because look how we're doing it. I think the latter is fine. I don't think the former is good. Donald Trump hasn't socialized any means of production, and he is therefore a failure. You know how to get under my skin, Akana boy. You know how to grind the old gears there. I believe in freedom of speech, though. You will always be welcome. You will always be welcome to come into my chat and say anything within TOS, even if it is the most horrific socialist shit. Akana boy, have you made a statement on the whole thing? I don't know if you have on the whole Destiny drama stuff. If you're still here, I don't know if you might have just came in for the drive-by. I don't know. because I always saw I always saw you as like being more connected with like people like the Live and Learn crew, right? Like Destiny, or not Destiny, Pisco, Hutch, and it was you, Pisco, Hutch, and oh god, I don't know. I don't mean to offend anybody by forgetting the last person, but there's somebody else. Pondering, of course, Josiah. Fuck, I like Josiah too. We talk a lot. Fuck, how did I not remember that? Look at that. We all condemned it and don't plan. Wow, look at that. Come on, guys. Let's be fair. Okay, I love you guys, but like, is this me sweeping for alleged sweeper? No, okay. We can do the limit like dreams within dreams inception thing in a second, but without meaning to sweep for anybody here, what do you want him to say? He just said we condemned it and don't plan on interacting with him. Like, if they go back, then you can criticize that, but I don't know. Like, that seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't think that there's any mincing words there. So sometimes you have to be welcoming to people. I think it's important. I think that like if somebody's like shit, yeah, it's a problem. Like I concede that to you. You can't like it might look like feel good to like just harp on it and like attack, but I think you have to give people room to be like to show themselves, right, and to be vulnerable. And I mean, like, I watched that Pisco video, and the dude looked like he was about to like break down and cry. That it just could not have been easy. And I mean, let's not pretend like it was easy. Like, let's say that you found out like a good friend of yours who you're planning all these projects with in the future, like does this shit, and now like you have to worry about like like you still have this kind of like friendship with this person, but you have to he's like, oh shit, like I have to navigate that because this is just bad and it goes against my principles, and also there's like it could affect my career, it could affect all these other things that are all like part of it. I think that I don't blame him for being upset about that. And but he did it. But he went up and he made a video and he said, look, we're done with it. So I know that we want to we want to keep on ripping at the bone, because I mean this is something, this has meat to it, right? This is something that Destiny did that's genuinely like not good, and it's a repeated pattern of doing this not good thing. So I mean, it's you want to grab onto that, and like roll with it, but I think we just got to be careful not to like have people catch too much collateral damage for that. You know what I'm saying? And look, I mean, if you're more of a, and where the line is, I guess it's going to be like a person to person question, right? So, like the Destiny statement on that Trump supporter in Pennsylvania getting shot, I think was like horrific. It wasn't like a sensible, even if you like follow the belief that he has, it wasn't the sort of sensible like, wow, like blah 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 XYZ logic or whatever. Like he went on Wix and just laughed about it, and he was laughing about it and openly celebrating it. That was really bad, and I think Pisco condemned that. I don't know who else did. That should have gotten a lot more flack. It got a lot of flack. I'm not meaning to say it didn't get a lot of flack, but that should have gotten a lot of flack. So it did. Should have gotten more. And you know, some people who are like purists might say, well, that's the line, right? Like, you shouldn't cross that line. But, you know, I don't know. Like, what would Gibbs believes in drone bombing the border? I still hang out with like I still go up to the stream with Gibbs. And I still will. That's not the even though I disagree with his proposition, it's not the line for me. You know, I'm willing to accept a large amount of like political insanity put forward that somebody expresses as like a belief. Um, did you say? Are you asking my height? I'm 6'2", so I'm a bit on the taller side. 6'2". But along the lines of what I was thinking, um, where the line, like, people saying crazy political shit. That's not like a. I'm willing to tolerate a lot of like political stuff because I also don't want to uh, attack people. I don't want to silence people, and I want to hear different perspectives. It's when people do actions that are bad that start to like get me concerned, like more like in a different way. Sure, people can say rhetoric that's like so bad that it becomes like too much of a concern for me, but like actions are just weighted so much more. And so like if I find out that somebody's like, you know, cheating on their spouse, doxing people, doc I guess in this case, doxing naked pictures or videos, recording people, like actively doing bad shit to somebody. This is just like in a whole nother ball game, and that's for me at least. And so, and so, I would probably, I might have acted in a similar way to Pisco, frankly. From what I, at least as long as I know everything. Maybe there's stuff I don't know about, so I don't want to say that and then like, oh shit comes out later that I don't know about, and now, you know, now I wouldn't do what he did. But I would do like the idea of like I would be first thinking in my mind, holy shit. I would take some time to like investigate the claims. And if like it turned out like everything was true, I'd have to make an evaluation as to like how bad the thing was. And yeah, this is pretty bad. I think this is like what happened is in my mind enough of a justification to cut ties with somebody, which is what he did. Which is what he did. Over 6 feet means you don't have to go to Gitmo. Is this like a Mexicans are short joke? Well, I tweet if I think Destiny's Trump comments are bad, then I make a joint business venture podcast with him. Did I really think they were that bad? Well, you thought they were bad, but perhaps you just didn't think they were so bad to not make a joint venture with him, right? It's not crazy. I'm just evaluating every side of this. I'm just looking at every single. I'm looking at the interests at play. I'm looking at the personalities at play, and you have to treat people like humans. You can't treat people like these autonomous, like these robots that you feed in a moral question and they'll give you the exact right answer. Um, like personal loyalty matters. It's a thing. You don't want to be close to people who will just throw you under the bus if one person says something. You don't want to be close to people who, if somebody just makes unverified allegations, they'll just dump you right away and make like, an hour hit piece on you. You don't want to be around people like that. You don't. You want to have people around you that have given you enough goodwill to investigate shit and to fully evaluate a situation before they make a tough decision. So, yeah, I think for the people who are close to him, if this is their line, which I think is a fine line to have, like, allegedly recording people to their consent and also sharing that and other stuff around, right? If that's your line, perfectly fine line. And, you're like, okay, if this all turns out to be true, I'm going to act on it. It's not unreasonable to give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to investigating it, at least, right? Like, give people time to look into everything. I haven't seen any evidence that, people like Pisco knew about this shit before shit hit the fan. I haven't seen that. I mean, if they had known about it for years, maybe everything I'm saying is bunk. But I have seen no evidence to indicate to the alternative. It seems like everyone was pretty shocked about this. The only person I am loyal to is Karl Marx. You really grind my you frustrate me, Akana boy. You frustrate me. Pisco and Rob should start a podcast. That'd be great. I'd watch that. I like Rob. I like Rob a lot. I don't talk to Rob too often though, but I guess what's the fun in just? Well, I mean, I'm sure we have substantive disagreements. We probably have a lot, yeah, but we also have a lot of lines of agreement too. We could have like do you guys live and learn like podcast something like that? Do you guys have that copy? I guess you guys do have it copyrighted. Fuck. Well, we could do like a parody of that. Would you be mad about that, Akana boy? If we did a parody of your that would I feel like if we did a parody of Live and Learn, that would come across as cringe because it would look like, like we're obsessed with you. I think that would look bad on us and it would look really good for you. So that'd be a really bad idea. I just talked myself out of it. So Roland and Akana, you guys don't like each other or something? I'm starting to notice you guys don't. I wanted to read this. I disagree to an extent. I understand that this is difficult for people to go through, and a lot of people had their hearts broken because they were friends with Steven. So Irrelevant, Loaderbox, and Irrelevant and JStalk are two other examples of people who've cut ties. Got heartburn, sorry. Irrelevant, Loaderbox, these are people I feel badly for. Other orbiters who knew from the beginning and lied about knowing to protect their wallets aren't in the same boat, in my opinion. I guess it would just depend on and I don't have all the facts, and I'm never going to have all the facts. I guess it would have to be like a full analysis of like when exactly people knew, and then and I would have to know the full extent of their relationship too. I don't know if anybody was in it just for their wallets. I know Fairy Queen kind of who you're targeting with this. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not at the risk of being wrong. I'm not gonna because of the risk of being wrong. I'm not gonna go it doesn't really matter who exactly we're talking about. But I don't know if there's anybody specific who was doing this solely for their wallets. Could be wrong. But I think your financial stability is obviously a important consideration when we're talking about why people do things, right? I mean, yeah, that's realistic as well, right? It's very easy to say give up everything because what you're doing is wrong when you're not in that position, right? It's not so easy to tell like African farmers, yeah, stop doing slash and burn farming because you're hurting the environment. When like if you don't do it, you might die of starvation the next day. And was anybody in a position where they're going to starve? No, but they were in a position to lose a lot. And I think that's just fair to take into consideration. It's not like an airtight excuse, but it can explain some things. It can explain things, I think. Wait, this is a great, yeah. Drug dealers sell cocaine on the streets and ruin lives because they need to pay rent too. Doesn't excuse the action. It's a great example. I am friends with former drug dealers. I am friends with former drug dealers. And I think a lot of drug dealers are put in a position where just stop dealing drugs is questionably feasible for them. Should they stop? Yes, they should stop. They should stop. But like it's not so easy to just stop. Just like it's not so easy to stop doing drugs. You should stop doing drugs too. But like if someone's like, yeah, I've been struggling trying to stop doing drugs and like I fell off a few times, but I'm on the right track. That's something to be celebrated. Not like, oh, you fell off a few times? Oh, okay. Lactoid dealt illegal copies of the Constitution to pay his way through law school. That is free on the internet. It's just an infeasible financial tool idea. Like, if you're doing something that makes you no money, then yeah, that'd be ridiculous. Like, if I was trying to sell illegal, the whole thought. Yeah, and of course, there's the inner joke that I miss, which is you can't sell an illegal copy of the Constitution, so it's public. I don't know where my fucking phone is. I don't think I can check DMs if I don't have my phone. Give me a second. I'll need to check my. I'll check the DMs when I find my phone. But I mean, really, realistically, like I'm assuming if this is going to be like a evidence of somebody knowing something, maybe. Oh, it's just a question. Well, okay, I'll answer it when I get my phone. But I was hoping I had it around, but I don't. I don't know where it is. I just lose shit. I just fucking lose shit. I just like I'll have my shit one time, like 1 second, and then like I'll just like drop it and then it's gone. And I'm a good lawyer though, I promise. I don't yeah. You can trust me to not like lose your case. Yeah. You just can't trust me not to lose my phone. Oh, you're a good lawyer? Name every law. Shit. Did anybody ever actually do that to like a woman expressing interest in something? Because I know that's like memed on, where it's like women express an interest. Oh, you're a Star Wars fan? Like name every XYZ. This probably, dude. If you ever do that to somebody, you got no game. Seriously. Like if someone's like, oh, I like that. Oh yeah, you like that? Name. Blah, 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 blah. People gatekeep everything. Yes, I actually fight against gatekeeping. Um, this is one of the biggest disagreements I have with Scott, Fabian Liberty Scott, where it's a debate that keeps coming up. Where his position is that like we should gatekeep people away from like the term libertarian, and that if you believe in a state, you're not really libertarian, and and for me, it's like no, like libertarian is a big tent ideology, and you don't have to agree on every single thing to be under the umbrella. You don't have to be super gatekeepy. Now, I guess you got to be a little bit gatekeepy, right? Like if you're having your little libertarian meeting and somebody comes up wearing a full Soviet uniform and says, "We're going to kill the capitalists and seize the means of production." Maybe we got to, But I mean, at that point, like if they get elected by the Libertarian Party, then the Libertarian Party at that point is not libertarian either. So I still don't see why gatekeeping necessarily matters there. U.S. government is biggest gatekeeper. True. Immigration controls are gatekeeping, actually. You can gatekeep if you want. I just don't. I think it's a good idea, especially when you're a small party who has very little political power. The CIA actually say that? Like that the lab leaking, whatever? Tulsi and Kremlin recordings leaked. Is this a meme? If this is a meme, I swear to God. Ha! It was a meme. Fuck you. Yeah, I wanted to. Oh man, I was gonna lose my. We couldn't spend time on it, but like Tulsi Gabbard is a fine nomination. She's fine in two ways, but she is a fine nomination. I support the confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard strongly. She was actually one of the nominations that I was most excited for. Yeah, I like it. I like her, and she should be confirmed. And she might not be. In fact, I think she's the pick that has the lowest chances of being confirmed. She's hovering about around 50%. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I hope she gets confirmed. I really do. She's not deranged. What are you talking about? She's great. She's awesome. She's like, hey man, maybe we should wait a little bit before we start like dropping the bombs, right? Maybe we should wait just a tad. Like let's get a little more documentation. You know, like I was saying before, like it's fair to like want to get all the evidence before you do the rash thing. And by the way, I like it that there's anti-hawks that are being nominated, by the way. I think like the sort of like hawk thing is a bad thing. And it's like your DGG cult sweeper boy. Oh, that was a response to Conway. What allegations against her? Well, hold on. What are the allegations against her? She's a woman, so I doubt they're sexual. I mean, just if we're being realistic here. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any allegations against her that would be that have credibility. Yeah, people say she's compromised. Hillary Clinton called her a Russian asset. They have no evidence. They have nothing. She passed how many fucking background checks with like the FBI? They like what if there's evidence of her being compromised, then yeah, don't vote for her nomination, but there's no evidence at all. There's just a half-assed accusation from a has-been politician who lost in 2016. Oh yeah, and they were attacking her about the Snowden thing, and they weren't giving a fuck at all. Like, is it really all that bad if like you're doing a bunch of unconstitutional, illegal shit, and then somebody like leaks that? I think that's good, actually. I think Snowden, you can criticize some of the methods, but this like moral bloviating that these neocons and neolib hawks on the fucking like they're just raving about like reprehensible Edward Snowden, he's so bad. The Ukrainian biolab comments were fine. We went over that on a Wix debate one time. She said nothing incorrect about the biolabs in Ukraine. All of it was verified to be true. It's all public information. She said there are biolabs in Ukraine. They are there, and I'm concerned about one of them getting hit by a rocket. She never said bioweapons labs. She never said they're biolabs manufacturing a virus to target Russians. She never said they're secretly funded by a cabal of child defense. No. She said there are internationally recognized biolabs in Ukraine that are close to the conflict zone. We should have a ceasefire around them because I don't want one of them getting hit by a rocket and spreading a disease. A very reasonable position. And people took that, ha ha ha, she's following what Putin said. Nothing, no, none of that. Yeah, like she made a full like Twitter, like it was like a minute or two long where she explains her specific position. And it was fine. It was a fine position. It like literally all it was like bio labs like and weapons were in the same sentence. And people were like, oh, she must be shilling, right? When no, she's fine. She should be confirmed. Yeah, it was all. This is also the beginning of the war, right? Like, no, it was a perfectly fine comment to make. So I guess here's the question. I want to know what you guys think about this. So this is going to be a question like, let's say tomorrow, like there is a complete reversal. Destiny ends any kind of prohibition on talking about the situation. There's no more bans. There's no more stupid ass jokes. There's no more making light of the situation. And then he makes a deep, heartfelt, throw yourself on the sword apology. And pays everything and donates some ridiculous amount of money to like charity against sexual assault or whatever the fuck. I mean, would you guys criticize the Orbiters for going back at that point? Look, it's an unrealistic hypothetical. I get it. But I like unrealistic hypotheticals because I'm looking for a deeper principle here. If we actually saw contrition, would you feel comfortable being close to this guy again? You seem kind of split on this. Contrition isn't it. I literally cannot imagine it. And then Kieran is like, I'm fine with him. Hey, man. Hey, if you like what you like, I guess. I think it's okay to go back after a year if he goes into some kind of therapy for his issues with relationships. I think that's not a terrible position. There would have to be more. There would have to be more than therapy, though. There would also have to be some kind of like something else too. But I wouldn't be super hard on people if that was the standard. So the recording of that consent, even then, like, yeah, it's bad. You should be out, but like after a year or two of like constant apologies, I don't know. Then there's also the fact he's in his mid-30s and he should know better. Who knows? Who knows, guys? But what I do know is that you guys are great, and I am going to be raiding on out because as I elaborated a little bit earlier, I worked kicking my ass, and I'm tired. Uh-oh, wait. Okay, I'll wait a second, Roland. Just for you, I'll wait. I got to ask Kirigan a question. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of time to ask Kirigan a question. Go ahead. Rothbardi makes a good point, too. If I fuck up, I want some friends to help me get better. It's not a bad argument. I feel like I've been pretty reasonable and open about the whole situation. Yes, it's bad. Yes, the response has been unacceptable. But, like, we got to remember all the different factors that are in play with the Orbiters. We got to remember, like, we should be open to people willing to express, that this is wrong. We should be willing to bring people in. And to some extent, we can have a level of forgiveness, too. So. We'll see. But it's a tough situation. I appreciate all of you guys for helping me stumble through it. And we're going to raid on out. And I will catch you guys later. Who are we raiding on out to? I say we raid on out to Pentuple. That's who I want to raid on out to. So, and I have the power. Oh, we also have Gibbs, though. Gibbs or Pentuple? Gibbs or Pentuple? Well, we'll do Pentuple just because we were on Gibbs yesterday. So you guys got a little dose of the Gibbs yesterday. But I did win the championship, though. So, I love them both. We'll give it to Gibbs. We'll send you on over to Gibbs. I'll catch you guys next time.
Tyler, do you know?
When I'm looking here, I don't know if that one specifically, but it fits the chorus of what